Well, hi there. How are we all? It's nice to see you. And thank you for coming and joining me for a WIP Wednesday. I am 8 minutes early. So we'll just have a wee informal chat for the first 8 minutes, shall we, until we get going properly. Who have we got in the chat? Obviously we have Roseanne, whom I have said hello to already. So hello again, Roseanne. SMB Designs, which is Stephanie. Good morning from Arkansas. Good morning to you too, Stephanie. Thank you very much for joining us. And we have the ever-present Theosaurus. Oh, hi, Black Rose. Just a usual double check, make sure volume's okay. It should be, because I was literally just filming with the same setup and everything seemed to be fine. But I'm sure y'all will let me know if things are not. Oh, hello, Hilary. I didn't see you sneak in there either. Hi. Yeah, just while we're sitting here, I know there's only a few of you in, you will see that our members have a little pencil logo next to their name, like Roseanne and Black Rose. Thea's pencil has changed colour, and that's because Thea's a fancy pants. Well, it's not because she's a fancy pants. Thea was the guinea pig for the memberships, so she had hers just slightly before everyone else. And Thea has hit the 1 month mark as a member, so she now has a white pencil on a black background. This is one of the many perks of being a member, is having that little status symbol next to your name in the chat. Not to mention our custom emojis, which I'm hoping Thea will demonstrate for us just now. The lovely range of things that we have to use at our disposal. The custom emojis have been made up by Roseanne, a fancy pantso. You funny. You funny. Ah, dearie me. Yeah, the custom emojis have been sort of hand drawn between Thea and I, and we've had really good fun doing it. The more members we have, the more custom emojis we can have. So it means we get to keep creating them, and obviously as an art channel, that's like really good fun for me and for Thea as well. So we want to encourage the memberships as much as possible. And on that note, for those of you that are in the stream today, that are members, I want to say to you specifically, thank you very much. I really, really, really appreciate your support. The general landscape of YouTube in terms of making money isn't great these days. And oh, there's all there's all the emojis. We've got a cow and then jock. We've got the moo symbol. We've got the paintbrush trees. We've got it's a pencil, and then we've got Pip and stop mooing, and obviously we have the udder. And lastly, we have the nope emoji as well. So plenty to use there. All good in the wood. The udder's still my favourite. Like it cracks me up every time. It cracks me up every time. Yeah, so thank you very much, members. I really appreciate it. Jazza did a video just recently, and he was talking about basically being in trouble on YouTube because things ain't what they used to be. Like YouTube have made it really tough. And it's kind of worrying and comforting at the same time that it's not just me, but at the same time, Jazza is a huge YouTuber, and okay, has huge overheads to match that as well, but it's pretty bad when someone as big as his channel's struggling, so yeah. Oh, Black Rose, I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm glad you're happy to be here though, and I hope that we can cheer you up a wee bit this afternoon. Hi, Jana. Greetings from Germany. Woo! Nice to see you. Well, Thea's just said hasn't seen Jazz's videos in a while. That tells you exactly, that demonstrates perfectly what I'm talking about. Who watches his channel? I know I don't watch many of his videos now. Not, well, no, there is particular reasons, which we'll not go into. That's another topic for another time. Maybe we can talk about that next time. Okay, we've still got 4 minutes to go, that's fine. All the usual spiel. This is a safe place to come and hang out. This is a relaxed afternoon stream. There's nothing stuffy or fancy going on here. We're just going to do some chatting and all the rest of it. If you feel uncomfortable at any point during the stream, please grab a hold of Thea. She is Theosaurus, and she has a little spanner or wrench next to her name. She's one of our moderators, and she can duly deal with anyone who is misbehaving or just being a little bit naughty. One day you'll get there, or stick to your bicycle. Oh, Black Rose. Well, my friend took her, I think, 3 attempts to pass her driving test, and she finally passed. So don't give up hope. No, I tell a lie. It was 4 actually. It was 4. So yeah, don't be disheartened. These things happen. I do know someone who passed on their 7th attempt as well. In my personal opinion, that particular individual, I don't think should be allowed on the road unsupervised. They're not a particularly good driver, and they openly admit that themselves. 7 attempts for a driving test is quite something. That's a lot of perseverance, a lot of money as well, actually. Yeah, that seems a bit much, truthfully. Okay, so other stuff that's happening. Obviously, I'm fresh back from Sweden. Maybe less of the fresh, but I'm back from Sweden. I am feeling a million times better. And again, thanks to everyone who sent well wishes and get well wishes, because I did feel pretty crappy at one point. And thankfully most of that has passed now. I still have this sort of residual congestion at night. I wake up in the morning and I still feel quite blocked up. But apart from that, I feel absolutely fine. My neck and my back and my shoulder are giving me problems. I now have regular appointments with a physiotherapist to deal with. Well, just now it's this side. It started on this side, now it's this side, but it's all the same stuff. And the physio's exact sentence yesterday morning was, "Oh dear, this is a disaster," and she was referring to my neck and my shoulders, so that's not very good. So I got the lecture about posture, about my chair, and I was like, just bought a really good chair, don't hit me with that, about having a huge bust, and that's the root of my problems, and I've got to lose weight, and blah blah. all the usual stuff that they hit you with. But I did promise her that I would start back doing some yoga, so that's my personal goal for the next couple of weeks, is to get back into routine with that. I can't spin bike just now because I can't put any weight through my shoulders and my arms, obviously, which is third position on a spin bike. It's when you're leaning forward on your handlebars. So I promised her I'll do some yoga. So that's my plan. Hi Laurie, good time here is another one of our mods, the lovely Laurie. I've just explained in great detail, Laurie, how I am. Basically, I'm over most of my illness, but my shoulder's knackered, so we're good. How are you? How are the sausages? Hi, Jamali Creative. Hello from Austria. Oh, we have another Austrian in the ranks. Watching quietly to distract myself from how annoyed I am with the virus that's been keeping me in bed. Oh, Jamali, I know how you feel. I was really, really unwell for like at least a week there, if not longer. I sympathise, and I really hope that you feel better soon, because there's nothing worse. Yes, Thea is your fellow Austrian, just so you know. Two Austrians. Black Rose are fellow. We really are. We're like a European collective today. And here's Jan poking her head in. Jan is from the UK. Jan is Team UK. So that's us. We've got Austria, Germany, Canada, the UK. Laurie, sausages are all good. Big littles and tinies. Oh, the little wiggle butts. So good. All right, that's us. We are at 2 o'clock. So let us get the formal proceedings underway. And today is, of course, our work in progress Wednesday stream. That time of the week, or in our case, that time of the fortnight, where we have a little dig about and pull out a work of art that's been festering that should really be finished off by now. So I would like to present you with the options for me today, because you guys get to pick what I do. We have 3 choices today. And after that, I want to introduce the topic for today, and I'll give you a little bit of preamble about it, and then you guys can wade in, open your mouth and let your guts rumble and tell me what you think about said topic. So, let's get started here. The first choice today, y'all are going to like this. Like, this is different today. I have the Castle Arts Magnificent Castles colouring book. I got this as a review, like product review type thing from Castle Art. It came really damaged, so I never gave it away or put it in the stash shop or anything. But I did, I don't know if some of you remember, that might have been last Cavemas actually. I actually think it was Cavemas. But I tested out the colouring book with the Castle Arts gold pencils, which is their oil-based pencils, and they're in this lovely pencil case here. Oh, so shiny. So beautiful. We liked them a lot. So yeah, this was the demonstration I did. I've even used a little bit of blending pencil here. I have no ideas what colours these were, but I can work on that. So that's choice number 1. I'll pop that out of the way. Oh God, shoulder, I am sorry. Whew. The next option is one that I presented last time, and it's back in this Monet colouring book, and I was actually doing this in gouache, so I could carry on with this. This is my reference image, obviously. I can carry on with this. I've got all my gouache paints and my bits and pieces right here. So that is option number 2. And finally, oh my God, obviously having been on my travels in Sweden, there's things in my sketchbook, and I'm going to show some of this in a video. This isn't all for today, but number 1, this tree, see this here tree, this particular tree, you can see here I have written there above Gothenburg. I challenged myself on the plane, right? This is how bored I was on the plane. Obviously, I'm travelling myself. I challenged myself from the announcement for everyone to get back into their seat because you're starting descent, you know, to get ready to land. I challenged myself to draw an entire tree before the wheels hit the tarmac at the airport. So I literally drew this tree in like 8 minutes. And you know what? I'm actually quite pleased with it, because you all know I like a good tree. It's a lovely tree. It is a lovely tree. So anyway, that's by the by. I'd started this, and if you remember, I was kind of talking about this before. This was one of the injured trees that I found on a walk around the farm, and I actually started this when I was away in Sweden. So I would quite like to continue on with that and do a little bit more on that. So that's choice number 3. So what I'm going to do now is just put up a poll, and y'all can decide what we are going to work on. So I'll do that, and then I'll catch up with. Oh, Jock's rumbling about. He's moved. Yeah, I'll put a poll up, and then you can do that, and I will catch up with the chat after that. Okay, so which whip? Whip. Oh, my neck did not like that at all. At all, at all. So we've got Castle Art Castle. How ironic. Monet Gouache. Or the FHG. There you are. So if you would all like to take a wee vote on that, you can carry on. Let's see what else is going on in the chat. Black Rose is just glad she's made it to a stream on Wednesday, usually be at work. Oh, I see. So you've made the stream because you had your driving test and you've got the rest of the time. I'm with you. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, look, Jamali and Thea are having a little bit of a bonding moment over being Austrian. Yana is, oh, you're working from home, Yana. Okay, cool. And oh, hello, Tiny Teacups Art. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming and joining us. And Marilise is here as well. Hello. I'm glad everyone's liking my tree. Kindergarten teacher can't work from home. Yeah, that's a problem, Blackroot. Oh, Roseanne likes the Monet. Well, so far we're at the Castle Art Castle. Do you know what? It's really funny because well, it's not funny, haha. It's funny as in uncanny. For those of you that are in the stream, obviously I know quite a few of you reasonably well by now in terms of internet knowing people. And I find I'm getting quite good at predicting what you want. Like if I give a set of options in my mind, I kind of already know what you want. Which I'm assuming it's just because I've gotten to know you all, but it kind of makes me giggle a wee bit, I'm not going to lie. Well, that's chuntering away. Today's water quota, some of you will know about this already. One of the things that I'm doing to look after myself a bit better, especially since I've stopped smoking and put on a lot of weight, I am making sure that I'm getting my liquid intake for today. So I drink 2 of these a day. The first one is always water. The second one depends on how fancy I'm feeling. This is diluting Vimto, no added sugar Vimto. For those of you from the UK, you will know what that is. So not the fizzy one, it's the diluted with water one. This is all that I have left today to fulfill my quota. And the rule is on WIP Wednesday, if I finish my quota, I get an alcoholic drink because a Wednesday is my day off. Obviously, not much video off when I'm streaming, but you guys make it fun and I don't feel like it's work at all. So, if I finish this, I've got a couple of things on the treat shelf here. You like this? I bought some cupcakes for the workmen because I've had workmen in all week, and there's one left. One sad, lonely little pre-made cupcake. So I'm, do you know what? I'm gonna have it. I'm gonna have it. I have got an absolute cheek because I ate my body weight in cheese and sweets in Sweden, and I've put on like 1.5 kilos. So that's a good couple of pounds. But yeah, there's that, and then obviously I've got a nice little fresh bottle here. I did take a bottle of Jack Daniels to Sweden with me. Alcohol in Sweden is very, very expensive, and it's not nearly as accessible as it is here in the UK. So I took some alcohol for Julia K of Julia K Art Studio. Took some for her family, and also took a bottle of Jack Daniels for myself. You can't take open receptacles of alcohol back on the plane with you, so I had to leave the rest of the bottle at home, which is why we have a fresh bottle today, which I personally am excited about. Oh, we're on the Monet Gouache. Oh, okay, right, you're throwing me a curveball here, guys. It's quite close, so I'll give it another minute or so. Ah. Hello, Mrs. Barnabas. Okay, Mrs. Barnabas, can you just confirm for me if you're comfortable to do so? You are not born French, but you live in France, is that correct? We were just having a wee discussion. We've got a couple of Austrians today, and we've got a couple of Germans as well. And I'm pretty sure you told me that you're not a native French person. Um, and we've got Terry, who is she's in Hawaii, hence that aloha. Hi, Terry. I don't need to tell you. I can't really give anything away, Terry, so bear with me here. Can you just please tell your nephews that they're wonderful human beings, and also obviously a huge thank you to yourself because that little parcel that you sent was quite something, and yes, yes, just yeah, warm fuzzy feelings, Terry, warm fuzzy feelings. Hi, Marigold as well. Yes, Mrs. Barnabas, Barnabas. That's what I thought. I didn't. I just wanted to make sure. Um. Okay. Yeah. Color and craft with Shani Blue. Hi. You're about 30 minutes away from where Jack Daniels originated and is still currently made. Yeah, Colour and Craft with Shani Blue. Terry's nephews work at the Jack Daniels distillery. So every now and then Terry sends me a little goodie. I would really love to come to Tennessee and visit. It's on my bucket list. I feel like it's my pilgrimage in life. Jack Daniels is a friend of mine for a long time. But that's cool. Nice to see we've got someone in from Tennessee. Jan has the castle colouring book, but working, so can't join in. Hence the tree vote. That's funny. Mrs. Barnabas has been in France for 8 years. Terry, your nephews are very sweet guys. I kind of want to do something nice for them. I might powwow with you in that and see if I can maybe draw them something or, you know, paint them something. That might be a nice idea. All good. Okay, and this is really close, and the poll keeps jumping between the Castle Art Castle and the Monet. So what I'm going to do then is, obviously there's votes for the tree. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Hello, Dominique. Nice to see you. Your timing's perfect. I'm going to put up another poll between the two. So for those of you that voted for the graphite tree, you will have to recast your votes, and hopefully that will put us where we need to be. Castle or Mooney? For those of you that have just joined us, this poll that is going on just now is to decide what I'm doing for my WIP. So I've got the Claude Monet. Wait, I just changed my view again. Jeez, oh. Oh, zoomed in too far. There we go. Consummate professional always. Yeah, I've got the Claude Monet colouring book. I was doing this in gouache, and I do have a reference photo, so that is that option. And I also have this Castle Arts colouring book, which I had done a demonstration in last Cavemas. And the picture that it is, I'd picked a Scottish castle. So I was going to continue on with that with the Castle Art Gold pencil. So that is what you're voting for right now. We'll leave that for a wee second. Right, let's talk about our topic then. Our topic was actually... We've got the other Yana in as well. We now have 2 Yanas in the chat. And Yana Wild has just said, hi, name sister. Love it. That's amazing. You guys are name twins. It's so cute. Right, okay, so yeah, let's talk about the topic then. It was Mrs. Barnabas that actually suggested this to begin with. And it's something that I am, number one, really curious to hear your opinions on, because I have a very set frame of mind about it. A lot of it is to do with my experiences in life and things that have happened to me, and also my mental frame of mind generally. So, the topic is... And weirdly, I don't think it's specific to the art community on YouTube. I think it can be applied to a lot of the different communities. But the topic is trends and how they affect us and what feelings they generate within, in terms of things like FOMO, so fear of missing out, full set syndrome, and you know, that they're the sort of associated enabling, I call it. And you know, I'm the first person to make the joke, like, I am Captain Enabler. So that is where we're going, and I think it's quite a controversial subject, and also it could be quite a sensitive subject as well. So obviously I would like it if you could all treat it with respect, but I'm really looking forward to hearing your opinions on that. Right, okay, I think we're doing better with this poll. Moni has taken 60%, so I think we'll call it at that, and I will get stuff set up for a little bit of gouache dabbling. Yeah. Right. What are the chances of two Yanas in the same chat? Well, you know. You know. I'm just going to call you Yana W and Yana E. Yana E loves the new cave. Thank you very much, Yana. It's set up pretty well, actually. Like, I've learned a lot from the two previous caves that we've had. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it works very well. Especially, see the live stream setup. Before, I used to have to move screens about and cables, and it was really painful, and it made it really stressful, and it made me not want to live stream. Whereas what I've got now is exactly the same setup as I use when I'm filming, so it's like this all the time, and it just makes it that little bit less of a kerfuffle to get going. So we've definitely learned some lessons. Mrs. Barnabas, I don't know why you're thanking me. People voted, that's what they wanted. I'm glad that it's a really good subject choice, so I applaud it, and you've obviously given that some thought. So, yeah, right, let me just get sorted out a bit. The table directly to my left here, I call it the chaos table. It's an extension of my desk, but that's basically where all the stuff that's currently being used goes, or like things that come into the cave, it just all gets, it's a dumping ground. And it's looking particularly chaotic, so I have to like fish through some stuff here. Right, so we've got the Monet book. I do have as well, I am going to do a full cave tour. It probably won't be next week, I think it might be the week after. And I will show you where I have settled on things being. But one of the things I do have is this basket. Now, normally I'm quite regimented with stuff like this, and I like everything to have a place and blah blah blah. This is just, it's like a little gouache hobby basket. So that was the original reference photo that I printed out, but I found with the crease in the middle it was causing me problems, which is why I printed off another one. This little book, I've stopped doing watercolour in it, and I'm just using it for gouache now, so it kind of lives in the basket with all the gouache paints, which are, you know, just sort of lurking about in here. And these are rags that I use with gouache and acrylic only, so these will get thrown out a lot more quickly than the ones I use with watercolour, because the ones I use with watercolour you just wash, whereas these can get a bit a bit crusty. Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, I just, the weird side comment there. Black Rose would love to have one cave at some point, maybe this time next year. Well, it's funny. It's funny, Black Rose, because for me, obviously before I had a YouTube channel, I was drawing a little bit for a little while before that. And my office, that's exactly what it was. It was my office, because I permanently work from home. And it started off, it was just like a little corner that had some art supplies in it. And now, obviously, we are completely the other way around. We are 99% art stuff and 1% proper job, which is basically my laptop. And that's it. So yeah, you'll get there. You will get there. I have full faith in you. Anyone doing Inktober? Okay, that, Dominique, that's real. I'm really glad you've mentioned that. I'll talk about that in a little second as well. And Marie's acrylic and gel nails. Can I just call you Marie? Is that okay? Doesn't follow trends. Too stressful. Wasteful. Oh my goodness. Okay, all right. We best get into this discussion then. let's get into this discussion. Right, just let me set up a little minute. I just need to go and grab a palette. Something I don't have. Because we're going to do some mixing. We go mix it. It's good. It's really nice as well. I'm much better organised. Like, I can find stuff in this cave, and there was a point in the last cave where I really couldn't. Like, really, really couldn't. So I'm just going to pop my palettes. Probably... I'm going to put them here so that you can see them, but just be aware that I'm going to be crossing over quite a lot because obviously I'm left-handed. I'll just put them like sort of in shot there. And I'll try and keep the reference image. I'm going to go down into this part because I've started the bridge here. I don't know how well you can see that. I'll try and keep everything sort of in shot so that you can see what I'm doing, because that would obviously be slightly more interesting very soon. And we'll see what we can do here. Paintbrushes are up here, don't even have to get out my chair. So I've got a couple of brushes specifically that I bought for using with gouache, and I talked about these in this stream before. And these are the Escoda brushes, because I wanted a filbert brush that I was using just for gouache, and I'm getting on really well with them. I do use my other watercolour brushes though, especially the synthetic brushes, because they're a little bit stiffer, they work better with the gouache. And I do say the ones that I use the most is the sea white ones, and these are the ones that I sell in the stash shop. So if you would like to purchase something like this, these are super, super cheap. They're really reliable, they've got staying power. This one here, the number 6, you can see it's starting to splay a little bit. I've had that 3.5 years and I use it for everything. So definitely value for money. So I'll plonk these back here so you can still see them. The other thing is, I don't know how much, like how noticeable it is. I do have new windows now. They are almost identical to the old ones, but they're watertight, which is nice when it's raining like today. So I have a nice fresh windowsill there. And away at the back, I've got the Gobstopper family, so Gary, Gloria, and whatever we called the other one. They're actually sitting at the bottom of the window frame. So we have made improvements since the last time we live streamed also. Thea tried acrylic pouring. Oh, interesting. That was something I never did. Jan is doing Inktober, but with her own rules, the official list, but a maximum of 10 minutes for the whole thing per day. If you expect anything more than a sketchy sketch, you'll be disappointed. And fountain pens, nice. Hello Angela, from a Dreich Montrose. Is it Dreich in Montrose as well? It's Dreich down here east of Edinburgh as well. I sound so much better. Yeah, I do, don't I, Dominique? Thank you. I'm feeling a lot better too. Really am. Really am. Right, okay, I'm gonna get started with mixing some colours here, because it's we're like half an hour into the stream. I actually haven't done any art yet, but we're talking. Okay, so right, here's my take on the whole trends thing. So just to sort of frame this a little bit, first of all, the thing that you have to remember is I am a YouTuber, and I'm comfortable calling myself that now after 5 years and 10,000 subscribers. I hate the phrase influencer. Like, I hate it with the fire of 1,000 suns. I am not an influencer. I'm a person that does art on the internet, and some people like to watch it. End of discussion. Just a normal person. But it's something that I am supposed to do. Is to keep track of said trends, because that's what makes videos popular, is by jumping on the trend bandwagon. And for some of you who have been here for a long time, you will know it's something I don't do, or if I do it, it's reluctant and it's only very occasionally. And the reason for that is exactly what we're talking about today. As a person, I had a very, very serious mental health episode, and I've never talked about it on the channel. One day I'm going to. I'm not ready to do it yet, but I was very, very severely mentally unwell, and things that create pressure, anxiety, or that sort of feeling of obligation is very, very strong with me. I've learned a lot from my illness. It was a long time ago now, and I have tools to cope with stuff like that. But I understand better than most people how those feelings start And it can be something like an offhand comment. It doesn't need to be someone hammering you on social media saying, you've got to do this, you've got to buy this, this is what you should be doing, this is what's in fashion. That's so yesterday. Like, it doesn't need to be any of that. It can be one tiny comment. If it's someone that you enjoy following and someone you enjoy watching, all it takes is one little sentence from them, and that can like burrow into your brain, and then it grows legs, and then it multiplies, and before you know where you are, you're like, oh, I should be doing this. So I 100% understand this entirely, and it's one of the reasons why I really haven't followed trends. I think the closest we got was when the Hime gouache pots came out. You know, we did a bit of that, and I was just like, you know what, this isn't worth it. So my take on it is that trends should be taken with a pinch of salt, and what you've got to remember is that it's kind of influenced by the market, by the manufacturers, but it is perpetuated by people like me. And just because that happens doesn't mean it's the best thing and doesn't mean that it's right. And for me personally, and I'm trying to stand by this as authentically as I can as we go along, I will not stock stuff in my shop that I don't stand by myself for use by myself. Which is why I stock polychromos pencils, because I use them every day. It's not some passing fad. But by the same token, it's nice to try these things, and having a YouTube channel is a really good vehicle for that, because I can try things. People send me things, and it lets me show you what it's really about. And again, I've always tried to be as impartial as possible and give really balanced views on things, and try and separate the technical aspects from my personal opinion. Let's take markers, for example. I don't like markers. I don't like working with markers. It doesn't mean I can't identify a good marker. But I am not going to get a box of markers from someone, say like Ohuhu, use them all and be like, oh, these are amazing because Ohuhu gave me them for free. Not happening here. I'm a Scotswoman, for Christ's sake. Like, we... So that's my stance on it. That's my opinion on it. So just to finish off what I've got to say, and then obviously we'll let you guys take the floor with this. The last thing I want to make a comment on is in Inktober. I stepped back from Inktober for a couple of reasons, and one of them was a moral reason. The person that created Inktober, and you can go and look this up online, I didn't really agree with the way that he handled a few things in relation to Inktober as a brand. It wasn't what he was trying to do that was the problem. It was the way he dealt with the situation. And for want of a better phrase, I just felt it was a bit of a dick move in a couple of things. I've got pretty strong principles about stuff like that, and I've just quietly stepped away from Inktober. There was a post put up by Colouring Heaven magazine, who I have a very good working relationship with, and they linked one of my colouring tutorials to their sort of Inktober theme, and I quietly asked them to take that post down because I didn't want the cave associated with anything to do with Inktober the brand. The other reason as well is October is when I start doing stuff for Cavemas. I don't have time for it. Like, I just physically don't have enough hours in the day. So that is a trend for me, and I still get that feeling in my gut that I should be doing it. I'm an artist on YouTube. I should absolutely be doing Inktober, and I should be spitting out all this work and being really productive. The reality is I don't have time, and I actually don't want to either, just on the principality of it. So there you go. That's my take on it. So I would love to hear now from you guys if there's a particular thing that you feel obliged into or forced into, and also how you feel about YouTubers and their reviews on products, because obviously that's quite pertinent to what we do here at the Cave. So have at it, everyone. Let's hear it. And I can breathe now and mix some paint. Patty is here. I got your email, Patty. Thank you very much. I will sort out the Stash Shop stuff. You'll get an email back from me, and thank you so much for the photos. They will be put to good use in the near future. Right, I need to try and find my mixing sheet here a little bit before we go any further. I need a little bit of blue. It is absolutely boiling in here today. As I said, we've had... Oh, I can't get the lid off that one. We've had workmen in, and they've been plastering my living room. I do believe that in the US you call it, is it spackle? Like that you put on the walls? I think it's the same thing. Anyway, that's been done. So the heating's on, trying to dry out the adjacent rooms so that it dries the plaster out. Prussian blue. Do I want Prussian? Yeah, let's have some Prussian. I'll make a bit of Prussian blue. We've got Faith. Hi, Faith. Didn't see you pop in. Yana E is in Kentucky. Martine is in Glasgow. I was just saying to whoever it was in Montrose, Martine, that it's Dree here on the East Coast as well, down closer to Edinburgh. Patty is doing Zentangle Inktober. I love that everyone's got variations on it in Inktober. Like they're just like y'all are just doing your own thing. Okay, I've got some Prussian. So what I'm thinking here is just in this section here, it's pretty dark in there. I don't really want to use black, and I've only got a tiny sliver. If I just zoom in for a wee second there, I've only got a tiny sliver of what's going on the other side of this this railing here, so I'm not going to agonise over that too much. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to grab some green as well. Get some green. Reach for the old, yeah, the old Sap Green. This is the Winsor & Newton Sap Green. It's one of my most used gouaches. Gouaches? Gouache, singular. I don't know. Martine, use an elastic band with difficult lids. And yeah, that's a really good tip, and I'll remember that for future because my hand's not great. I think we're past that point though, because what happens when you try and twist it, the tube twists. It's that stuck. It's not just my weakling hand. I think we're past that point. Most of the Artful tubes do that. It's kind of annoying, and I have fed that back to Artful in a diplomatic fashion, of course. But it's like, yeah, user problems. Okay, so I've got a little bit of Sap Green. I need a little bit of white as well. I've got the zinc white here. This is kind of... Come on now. Oh no, there we go, we're all right. This has got a little bit of a yellowish tinge to it. Get out the tube. But that's exactly what we're needing here because it's going to give us a little bit of variation. Right, okay. Finally, got some water. I'm doing really well here. We are now half an hour into the stream, still haven't painted it. There's that. So I need little brushes for this because we're talking about, you know, this sort of really sort of, I call it the dabby technique. Like there's a lot of dunk, 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 dunk. So we want smaller pointy brushes or very, very small something or other. Right, okay, there's a sea white number 4. That's looking good to me. That's what I was talking about. These synthetic brushes are perfect for this sort of carry on. I don't think I need to go as small as a 0. I also really like this brush as well. This is one of these cat tongue brushes. This was one that came in a scroller box, but it's quite firm because it's got that flat ferrule. You know, it keeps its rigidity. Thea says, I honestly have no idea what the current trends are in the art world. Well, do you know that's interesting because I try and avoid them on purpose. Marigold says she likes the art channels who make it obvious they've been gifted the items and who follow a set method for reviewing. So you know what they're saying is their genuine thought. That's a really good point, Marigold. Like, you mean they've got a structure to their review? Patty's never done the official Inktober, never will. You rebel, you. Okay. Daily challenge for October. It's Inktober. Trying to do something every day, but depending on my mood, it can take 2 minutes or 2 hours. Soak it in water. The paint will disperse, but it might go into the tube. I'll try that, Martine. Thank you. Thank you for your tips. Like, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much. So, yeah, let's take like pencils, for example, and we see a lot of, that's really blue. We see a lot of mid-price pencil sets that sort of come and go. For example, in my time on YouTube, when Arteza launched their pencils, everybody was, you know, like rave reviews because they were soft and then Castle Art came along, and then the square pencils, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. They begin with a B. Come on, right, come on, chat, help me out here. They came along and they were like, oh, you know, that's the next pencils that everyone's got to have. When you see stuff like that, how long does it take you, for those of you that do like to use coloured pencils, how long does it take you, or how many YouTube reviews does it take before you'll consider buying something like that? Just checking my reference image here. I'm just trying to pick out some of the darker parts. Obviously, this is not 100% accurate. The drawing, you know, the line art isn't 100% accurate to the original painting, but it's pretty close. And the joy of gouache is that we can layer up over the top of it. So as long as we've got the gist of the dark parts, you know, the approximate location, we're pretty good. So I've got a little bit in here. I'm actually looking at some of this light and line art and like, go home line art, you're drunk, you know. You don't belong there. But we will make it so. I've actually got like a really big kind of hunch to finish this now, but it'll take ages. Brutfunner, thank you, Thea and Patty. Mrs. Barnabas, I have what I like and it's fine for what I do. I love that train of thought. Depending on the person who does the review, it might just be one, like for the Talons pencil you tested. Oh my god. This is what I mean though, like this is what I'm saying. So Black Rose has just said, based on one review, which was me, the least like trend follower on YouTube, she went and bought those pencils. Now, okay, they're low risk because they're cheap. But that's just one example, and this is what I'm interested in. Being retired on a fixed income, I have to be picky. So there's another point of view. So for, you know, Patty's saying for people that have a fixed income, it's a different thought process. And correct me if I'm wrong here, Patty, but perhaps would take a little bit more persuasion for you to really want to buy something. Would that be fair to say? Marie's a Prisma or a Faber girl. Yeah, good for you. You got it right, girl. Yeah, Jan's saying about pencils being open stocks. Like, so that's a huge factor for me. I like the main set of pencils that I use would never ever be ones that didn't have an open stock option. Prismacolors and Polychromos, the two pencils I use the most, and I've had to replace ones in both. I would never have a main, like a trunk selection of pencils that weren't open stock for that very reason. And Yana E will only buy them if they're completely different from what she has. That's a really good rule of thumb as well, actually. If Harry at the Art Gear Guide has done a review, I'll check what he thinks, but generally I've only bought pencil sets I know will fill a gap I feel I have, like the Holbeins. Okay, so some of you are not total pencil monsters. And Terry fell into the square pencil trap and she doesn't like them. Oh no, this is what I'm saying. See, for me, the pencil thing, like I have to have pencils. It doesn't really work that way with me for other things. You know, see if it's like paints or ink or markers, I don't have that same compulsion, but with pencils I absolutely do. However, I've kind of got an excuse for it because I can use them on the channel, and even if I don't need them or want them after a little while, I know that I can give them to someone or sell them and they will still be put to good use, even if it is just that trial process again and they can be passed on again. So in that sense, I think my view is fairly inaccurate. Because you know I have this sort of vehicle for it, and this is why I'm so interested in what you guys have to say, because I know a lot of you won't be in the position that I'm in, and it is a different thought process entirely. So this is all very interesting. Jamali is happy with the colouring books, pretty selective about which ones I add to my collection, but prone to buying pencil sets, and it is. Marigold's a watercolour paint monster. Marigold, you in particular, again, because I know you, it's very, 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 very important that you watch Sunday's video, okay? And I'm not saying any more on the matter. Marilise watched a bunch of videos to find out what the recommendations were and bought those, but now I have too many. And you've learned what your favourites are. Yep, I stick to them. I think that's a bit of a process in itself though, isn't it? Well, hi, Leslie. And yes, Monet. I've literally done this in like 40 minutes, but yes, we are Moneting today. I'm glad you approve. I'm just trying to block in some colour here. I will put in more detail, you know, to match the reference image just shortly. This is actually seems that it's got quite a lot of... I'm going to have to get some more white out, I think. Maybe a little tiny splotch of yellow also. I don't know what I've got in the way of yellows. Sunflower. Oh, let's not go with that. Right, let's try it. I wonder if I've got an elastic band to hand, Martine. Let me have a little look in my box of tricks down here. I do have an elastic band. Ironically, it's yellow as well. Oh, my neck did not like that movement there. Oh, wow. Oh, right, let me just wrap this around here and see if I can get this open. See if this works, Martine. I'm going to, like, bow down to you. Never tried this before. Yes! It's open. Please, can we have a round of pink udder hands for Martine? She told me to use an elastic band to try and get the lid off the gouache, and it has actually worked. That's tickled me today. And the fact that the rubber band matches the colour of the paint's even better. Let me see those pink udder hands, guys. A little round of appreciation. Jem needs assistance sometimes, what can I say? Keep telling you all I'm just a normal person. Thank you, Black Rose. You know. Oh, I don't know why that's tickled me so much, but it really has. That's so funny. Oh, jeez. And all this over a little bit of yellow paint, honestly. Jeez. Oh. Right, I need a rag now. I've just woken Pip up. She's absolutely fast asleep there, and she's like opened her eyes and she's like, ugh. This is because I was laughing really loud. Right, let's I'm slightly out of shot here. Let me just put that up there. I'm just going to mix some of this Sap Green. That is dry already. That's how warm it is in here. I might have to take this jumper off as well. I say we're just trying to dry out our plaster so that we can get painting ASAP. Oh, thanks for all the other hands, guys. There you are, Martine. A little bit of appreciation from your fellow cavers. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This, you can't see it because of my face. This colour here, this is what we're going for. So that is a little bit of the Sap Green, a little bit of this Sunflower Yellow from the Artful Paint, and a little, pardon me, a little bit of the Zinc White as well. Oh boy. Right, let's put that colour, because this is really the base for this part here. That's what I'm going for. I think I'll tackle the the actual bridge railings at a separate point. I think, Lord, this is plenty to be getting on with just now. Hi, at least I didn't see you sneak in because of all the other hands. I'm feeling a lot better, thank you. I'm having problems with my neck and my shoulder. I'll tell you the story as to why that was made worse in just a wee minute. But I'm basically in the position now where I'm going to be attending a physiotherapist regularly because there is damage, there is problems. It doesn't stop me doing my day-to-day stuff, but like right now, I'm quite sore. I have taken painkillers, quite strong painkillers, but uh, yeah, I'm not dying or anything, but I can feel it. Put it that way, I can feel it. Right, okay. Marie says, come to central Queensland. It was 37 here today and it's only spring. Nope, that's not happening. I can tell you that. I'll nope the hell right out of that. I was saying to Thea earlier, I am so glad. Like, we're getting proper autumn weather here now. So during the day, it's between like 14 and 18 degrees Celsius. And at night, it's dropping down into single figures. I love this weather. Like, this is perfect weather. It's my favourite, and all the trees have started to turn. I'm really hoping to put a lot of like autumn leaves and walks and stuff into the next vlog. So this is my favourite season. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, Nikki made it too. Hi, Nikki. Nice to see you too. Colouring books. Well, yeah, colouring books. That's the Yeah, Leslie, it sucks. Like, it actually sucks. Yeah, the colouring book thing, I find that that's another really common area where people tend to sort of the phrase we would use in Scotland is people go daft. Like they like buy all the things and then realise that they don't need nor actually want them and they're taking up space and then they have to destash. That is legit. That is a thing. Like 100% that is a thing. I see that a lot with colouring books. I do have a lot of colouring books also. But I've found purpose for a lot of them over the years, and there's some that I've barely touched, but they're there for a reason. Um, but I don't like, this is the other thing as well. I think we fall into like two very, this is a huge generalization, but we tend to fall into two types of people. I find there's people like me who don't like to have a lot of stuff that's surplus to requirements. And I actually have a guilt attached to things sitting there that haven't been used. I don't like that thought of wastefulness. And I feel guilty for said inanimate object that it's not fulfilling its role. I like to see things being used. And then there's the other camp of people that I like to call collectors, and they like to have all the things, and they may use 99% of it, but they like that sort of, vast collection and that feeling of gathering everything up because it's a feeling of comfort. It's cozy. Um, that aside, though, I am a bit of a completionist as well, which complicates things. I do have a bit of full set syndrome. But I've learned to really, really temper that, like really temper it and only do it for what it's completely worth and stuff that I'm actually going to use. So, you know, I try my best. But it helps. See when you keep moving, because this is like our third cave now. When you keep moving, it makes it a lot easier because you kind of want to get rid of stuff anyway, just to lighten the load, so to speak. Green Hat's here too. Oh yeah, hi. That's us. We have a full complement of mods. We now have all three mods. Green Hat, I'd just like to point out, check out Thea's membership badge. She's a fancy pants. Her badge has changed colour. A pinched sciatica nerve for 3 years. Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that, Elise, because what the physio has done to me, she's loosened my neck off. Like, see, yesterday morning, I didn't have that range of motion in my neck, but I've got a lot of referred pain down this arm. I feel as if my shoulder's really bruised, and that's what's bothering me. It's not my neck, it's my arm, and it's the weirdest thing. But that's been going on since I got to Sweden. So I feel so sorry for you. Like, I'm sorry you have to deal with that, because it's like I've only been dealing with it for like a week or so, and I'm so sick of it. Absolutely crazy. Schnecks. Oh, Nikki loves this weather too. Yeah, that's only because you're going to get snowed on really soon. Okay, I just had to back up in the comments there. Marie's talking about snakes. Obviously, she's in Australia and they have lots of bitey, poisonous things there. Um, an eastern brown in her yard, which is the third most venomous snake in the world. No, thank you. Reason number two why I don't need to go to Australia. Thea said, "Holy piece of toast." Excellent exclamation. Yeah, that like the if ever there was a time for the nope emoji, that's it right there. That Schneck, no thank you. Marigold gets the Colour in Heaven magazines, so that tends to meet her needs. And then there's three other artists whose books I buy. I'd be very interested to hear if you are willing to share. I really hope that Tim Jeffs is one of them, but I don't think he is, because I don't think that's your thing, but that's fine. Um, Green Hat likes having the stuff. It takes out and strokes us sometimes. Other waves. Okay, yeah, alright, I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. Oh. Black Rose, honestly, see Johanna's Christmas book. I love it. You know I keep it specifically for Cavemas, but it is actually one of my favourite things in the world, and it's just one of those things I associate with Christmas now. I love it. Yeah, Patty, I'm really sorry about the ads. See if I'm talking about um, something important, I can delay the ads, but it doesn't always tell me that an ad's coming up for some people, so that's kind of annoying. I can also put in ads, like, see if I was to go for a pee break, I can put an ad in while I'm away for a pee break just to annoy y'all. I wouldn't do that though. Anastasia Koldarava, Christine Karen, and Sarah Richter. Oh, Christine Karen, yeah, her stuff's really nice. Schnecks. Thea wishes Johanna would do another Christmas colouring book. Yeah. Jan's got the paid version of YouTube. Jan, so do I. I get a perk because I'm me. But it's worth paying for, absolutely. If you watch a lot of YouTube, it's worth it. Yeah, Laurie, what but apparently once I'm sorted out, like once I'm in a good place with the state of my neck, apparently I can use a TENS machine. Just now not because my spine's not where it should be. Like, it's not just muscular is the problem. Hello, Marcy. Good morning, Jem. It's almost 7 a.m. here in Seattle. Well, you're an early little bird, aren't you? Thanks for coming and joining us. That's really nice of you. Tis so good. Yeah, Dominique, you don't get any ads because you pay for YouTube. It's the same as like with the normal videos, you get to skip them. Yeah, definitely, definitely. How much is the paid version? Well, it varies, Patty. I pay less because I took it a long time ago, and also because I'm a creator. I got like a deal. I think Elise Elise, are you asking me how Spain was? I was going to say, I think in Great British pounds, I think it's about a tenner a month. But Papa Jem told me he was paying a lot more than that, so I'm confused. Because I only pay like 8.99, like Great British pounds, so I don't know if that's a thing. Um, I don't know if that's a thing. I'm not really sure. But I've basically had YouTube Premium since it was YouTube Red. If anyone remembers that, like I've had it all this time, so. Jan says 12. Do you know, I'm going to have to double check for Papa Gem Jan because I'm sure that he said he was paid more than that. He might just be getting confused because he's old. But yeah. Laurie's got broken hardware in her shoulder. Yeah, mine's not broken, it's just slightly and it's slightly out of position, shall we say. But I was telling everyone earlier though, Laurie, the physiotherapist I see, she's new to me. She's lovely. Her name's Marina. She's a really really nice person. But she used to be a physiotherapist in the military. And oh, she's brutal. And the words that came out her mouth when she saw my neck and my back was, "Oh well, this is a disaster." So, you know that, yeah, not off to a great start. Everyone loves the tens machine. Okay, I think I'm finished my water quota here. There's a lot more drinking than painting going on today, but I'm hoping you all aren't too bothered by that. We're just here to chill out today. It's Wednesday. Middle of the week, hump day. Maybe he bought a family version. Or he might have done Jan. Oh, I don't know. Oh, hi, Diane. Okay, you're going to start from the beginning, okay? Yeah, I get you. Oh, this paint is drying on the palette, something quite. See, it helps because I'm like not actually painting anything. So, right, the next thing I want to do here is this mixture here that I've got. Again, my face is in the way. This mixture here, I want to lighten that up even more, but my white paint's starting to set as well. I'm surprised I'm not actually sweating, because normally I would be by now. So I just want to put a bit of texture over the top here. That will pick up some of the green colour underneath. It won't look as stark as that when it's dry, which is fine. I could probably do with lightening up some of this blue with some white as well. Hi, Nye! I haven't told any tales from the trip yet, Nye. I've literally, we've been talking about the topic. We've been talking about the topic of the sort of enabling trends and how it makes people feel. Marie, is midnight here, yeah. Okay, well, it's a bit later. Let's oh, I think I got a bit overexcited with this lighter colour here. Yeah, so one of the things I was going to mention is how my neck and my shoulder got into this state. I had problems, and that was before I got sick. I was having problems with my neck on this side. I think I mentioned it once before. And it kind of happens to me every now and then, and I get just kind of like a bit tweaky, and I go and get like a rub down and behave myself. Um, the page is the picture you're colouring. I'm confused. Yeah, this one, not this one. This is the reference image, Patty. Yeah, so I'd kind of had that the left hand side fixed because I'd been in the physio before I disappeared off wandering across the water, and the physio that I saw then was a guy. He's only in the practice once a week, and he said, "I think you should come back and see me next week." And I said to him, I said, "Well, I'm very terribly sorry because I'm not going to be here. I'm I'm going travelling for a little while." And he was like, "All right, okay, no, that's fine." He said, "You should be okay, but if you've got any problems when you come back, you can just let us know and come back and see us." So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. And I get to Sweden, and I go and visit Julia, who kindly hosts me for my, for the. Oh, that colour matches really well with the edge of this bridge. I'm just gonna wang some of this in here. Look, oh, that was a happy accident right there. Yeah, so Julia hosted me for basically my entire stay. She looked after me. She took me places. She entertained me. And so did her mum and dad. Like her parents are like I get on really well with them. They're absolute sweethearts. Anywho's, um, I some of you know I don't sleep well. That is an after effect of being mentally ill, and it's been many years since I've slept like a normal person. However, obviously being in a strange place, being in a strange country, and being in a strange bed, all of those things mean I'm not going to get a good night's sleep. Which is fine, it's expected and it's accepted. So where I was staying, I couldn't, like, I just couldn't sleep, basically. And quite often, one of the tricks that I've learned and that I was taught by my sleep doctor many moons ago was that if you're really struggling for an hours and hours, sometimes it's a good idea to change the location of where you're trying to get to sleep because mentally you have blocked off the place that you are in as a safe place to sleep. So thankfully for me, the room that Julia had put me in, there was a sofa in that room. So I toddled over like literally like a toddler with a blanket. I dragged the blanket over my shoulder in my pajamas and I toddled over to the sofa and just plumped up some pillows and fell asleep straight away. Woke up in the morning and I was like this. So I was that tired from traveling and not sleeping that I'd just gone out like a light and I hadn't moved from that one position with my neck over the arm of the sofa and woke up the next morning, didn't know where I was, didn't know what day of the week it was, certainly didn't know what time it was, with a really stiff neck, and it just kind of went downhill from there, to be honest. So yeah, that's how I ended up hurting my neck again. Like, oh. It was either like lie awake all night and not have a sore neck, or try somewhere else and get some sleep and end up with a sore neck. So yeah. Yeah, at least that's why I was asking earlier if you were asking me whether a house pain was. Yeah, Julia's great. We had such a good time. Her and I, there's a lot of instances where her and I shouldn't be in the same place at the same time though, because it just gets silly. It was so good though. So good. The weather in Sweden is remarkably like it is here, which obviously made me feel at home as well. There were suitable downpours as well that were completely inappropriate, and I was like, yep, that's just like being at home. And the scenery, like you can totally tell that Sweden and the north of Scotland were joined together at one point because it is like I weirdly felt at home. It was just strange because everything was upside down because in Sweden they don't drive on the same side of the road as us and they operate under the Swedish krona or crowns as they call them. So yeah, it was a really nice experience. I got to meet her family as well. I've met her parents before. Her parents came over on holiday to Scotland, and I kind of set them up with somewhere to stay, and they came to visit me. So it was nice to see them at home as well, and they looked after me so well as well. So yeah, I had a fabulous time. Like I really did. I would go back tomorrow if I didn't have to work. I would go back for another holiday like now. Oh, Diane's got rain in Texas. Oh, that's good. Yeah, Black Rose. See, when that happens to me, that's my move. At home, I don't have a sofa in my bedroom. In my old bedroom, I had an armchair which I used to sleep in. But the other trick that works really well for me, in that situation is to. This is going to sound absolutely ridiculous. Is to swap ends of the bed. Obviously, I share a bed with Mr. Jem. It's quite a big bed, to be fair. We have a rather large bed. But I sleep upside down, so my head is where my feet should be. And that is enough to disorientate me from my not sleeping position, and I can sometimes nod off. So that might be worth a try because that's a really good one if you don't actually want to get out of bed, because sometimes the act of physically standing up and getting out of bed wakes you up more. But that was another little trick that I was taught as well, which weirdly, generally speaking, works for me as well. So Very, very odd. The things that you learn when you're an insomniac. Leslie's got to have meds to sleep. But I've turned around in the bed, feet where head should be and head where feet. Yes! At least they say it's always awesome to be silly with a best friend. Oh, Julia and I are like pros at it, we really are. Thea's talking about a weighted blanket as well. That's something that, again, more recently has worked, not specifically a weighted blanket, but see, having a blanket that's separate from the duvet that I share with Mr. Jem. Sometimes I push the duvet away and I pull up the other blanket and it's just me that it's covering. Sometimes that helps as well, which is, well, I suppose it's a wee bit strange, but there's loads of things you can try if you don't sleep. I mean, I've been dealing with this for, well, it's coming on 20 years now, so yeah, I'm getting kind of good at trying stuff out. And I think as well as just being open-minded about it, that's a huge part of it. You know, I'm very much of the mindset of I will try anything once. And if it doesn't work, well, okay, it was worth a try. This bit is very sort of wishy-washy. Um, I don't know. That needs to have more white and yellow in this section here. And the same underneath. And this part's like blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm actually really enjoying dabbling about in here. Right, it's 3:05, guys. I am going to take a short comfort break here. I could do with disposing of all of this. And I'll pour myself a wee Jack Daniels. It is down on the shelf down here. So for those of you that don't have YouTube Premium, I'm going to pop an ad in just now. I'm assuming you haven't had one for a while. Hopefully that's okay. And maybe if I do this, you won't get another one for a while. So I'm going to do that, take off my jumper and just kind of like readjust myself. And then we'll come back and I'll start work on this little bit here. I just come back to Nye's comment and it just says insomnia, wandering around in the middle of the night and a bad neck. Not the kind of tales I was expecting from a Sweden trip. Well, yeah, I've made it sound absolutely terrible. In truth, it was a lovely trip. The very first morning that I was there, because I arrived quite late at night. It was a nighttime flight, and my flight was delayed. There's a surprise. Thanks, Ryanair. So it was. I think must have been nearly midnight by the time I arrived. So it was dark when I got there. So we kind of just dawdled about for half an hour, and Julia like showed me places to get my bearings in the house and stuff. And then I went to bed. But where I was staying, I was actually annexed from the rest of the house, and it's just for privacy. It was really so I had like my own little upstairs suite. So when I came down in the morning to go to like the main part of the house, I was accosted by 8 chickens and a rooster. And I was like, well, hi everyone. And they were all like, "Whoa, bap, 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 bap." I was like, well, this is a welcome. And then when I went into the actual house, I was accosted by all of the dogs, of which there's like a bajillion of. And I literally got cuddled to death and licked to death. It was the best start to a holiday I've ever had, personally. Oh, did you all see Pip come in there? Yeah, she's Black Rose. It was a Pip, not a joke. It's a Pippi. She's she's a bit out of sorts because she can't get into the lounge because we don't have a lounge just now. So she likes to have a choice of places to sleep, and right now she doesn't have a choice. So her chair is beside the chaos table over here. And she's just sitting looking at it. She's like kind of giving me side eye. Yeah, no, Theo, you're right. It was Pip. Jock is Jock is surgically attached to the radiator. He's got a big fluffy blanket on the floor behind me on that side, so y'all can see that the radiator's just under the window there. So Jock's down there, on a big fluffy blanket with his bum wedged against the radiator because it's warm, and he's getting kind of old and stiff now, and it's raining, so he likes things like that. How is Julia feeling with her illness? She's actually been really good, Elise. I'm assuming you've watched her vlogs, so she does struggle sometimes, but I think having me there, and not that I was like Mrs. Demandy Pants, it was me that was saying like we don't have to do anything today. I'm really happy just to chill out in the studio and sit with our sketchbooks or whatever. And she was like, no, let's go and do this and let's try this and all the rest of it. She did very well, but she was napping quite a lot, like she was taking a lot of sleeping, which was fine by me because I toddled about and did stuff with the dogs and just did all the things. So no, it was really really good. Jock is secretly a cat. Well, yeah, I think in his old age he's getting that way definitely. Okay, funny. I'm gonna eat my cupcake, guys. Is that okay? I know some people like, well, okay, say some people. I'm totally triggered by people eating. I can't. It gives me the absolute like. Ugh. So if any of you are like that, please turn away now because I am gonna eat this cupcake. I will try not to make like noises though. Green Hat missed the doggo. You'll have to go back and in the replay. She must have just like she would have sneaked in. You would have saw her on that side there. Um, she's just coming in to sit on her chair. You ever get that feeling you're being watched? Her eyes are boring into me now because I've got food. You can't have this beeper. Unfortunately, she learned to scrounge from Woo. That was another one of the really good habits she picked up from Woo. as a puppy. Scrounge for all the food. And it's weird because Jock is not a food motivated dog at all. Like, he's not interested in human food. He'll eat it if you give it to him, but he won't come looking for it. That's actually a really nice cupcake. I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so I usually don't appreciate things like that as much as maybe like Mr. Jem would, but that's actually quite a nice cupcake. I used to be a pastry chef, so I do know good things from bad things, but see, it just doesn't excite me. Patty's just gone back to see Pip on the live stream. Hello, Pam. Oh, you're in Australia as well, but you're in Edinburgh, girl. Oh, well, what if I tell you, Pam, that I have moved to East Lothian now, so I'm pretty close to Edinburgh. Nice to have you, Pam. Thanks for stopping in. I am actually going to do, it's a shame that Marie's away now, but I would actually like to do a back to front stream, so I would like to stream really early in the morning for the benefit of our cavers that are in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, etc. I was actually thinking, like, you know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. Pam, what time is it with you in Australia just now? Marigold's not a sponge fan at all. Oh dear, Marigold. Oh, I'm just making a mess now. That's fairly good. The icing leaves a lot to be desired, but it is a shop bought cake, so you know. Oh, this is what happens when you've got boobs. Get off me. Right, there we go. Put this away. It's supposed to be painting and talking, not eating. It's 1:15 in the morning. What are you doing watching my live stream at 1:15 in the morning, Pam? Thea's got chocolate mousse in the fridge. There we go. The conversation has turned to food. It took me to actually eat today for it to turn to food, but okay. Yeah, Patty, if I did an upside down stream, you guys in the States would be the wrong way round, because we normally weight it the other way, obviously. Oh. That sounds like a Mr. Jem. Oh, just bear with me 1 minute, guys. Oh, sorry guys, just had to quick grab Mr. Jem there. Jock back as well. At least has the boob shelf problem. Always the boob shelf. Terry's dark chocolate orange. That was something, Marigold, that I introduced the Swedes to, was the Terry's chocolate orange, and they like it. Hubby threatens to buy me a bib sometimes for the boob shelf. I'm glad we've got so many boob shelves going on. That makes me feel at home, guys. A bib. Mr. Jem is always saying to me, like, I'm always spilling things down the front of me. And it is just it's an occupational hazard. We can't really help it. It's an anatomical hazard, isn't it? Right, let's get back to this camera view. Excuse me. Thea's just clumsy, that's why she needs a bib. Oh, you guys. You guys are so funny. I'm trying to resurrect this paint a wee bit. It is a wee bit too watery for what we're wanting here, but oh, there's a bit of cupcake icing in the way. God. Okay, gonna have to do a bit of mixing here, that's no use. We are pretty dried up. Let's pop some of that over there. I'm trying to get this background colour in here. So it is more of a darker green, so taking a little bit of that blue. Yeah, there we go, that's better. You can't even see what I'm doing with blinking panning. If we keep adding in the blue, obviously we can layer it up once it's dry as well, but I kind of want the base colour to be as close as we can get it. Hi Beeper, do you want to come up and say hi? Shh, do you want to come up and say hi to him? Say hi, Beeper. And there you go, that was Pip. That's about as much as you'll get from her. Might as well do this little corner well in here as well. With a sleep problem, have you ever tried a weighted blanket? At least not really, because of the like, just because of the way the bed is and everything, like, it would never be fully over me properly. Marigold's also a member of the Boob Shelf Food Dropping Brigade. I think we're going to have to make ourselves a badge, guys. See if I make a sticker, do you all want one? The Boob Shelf Brigade sticker. I think that's a great idea. Yep, puppy kisses. Well, it's not so much a puppy kiss that you get from Pip, it's like more like a boop. She very rarely actually licks. No back pain or googly eyes. It's the neck thing. I was at a point when my shoulder was really sore. All I wanted to do was not have a bra on. Because obviously your straps cut into that part of your shoulder, which for me is the part that's sore. And I had workmen here and I just couldn't do it, because when you've got a larger bust, you really don't want people seeing you without a bra on, because it's not, well, I don't think it's attractive and I'm not comfortable with it. So that I found that part really hard. Yeah, okay, right. I'm genuinely, ladies, I'm going to make a Boob Shelf Brigade sticker, and I will make that available to y'all at a reduced cost. I don't think it's fair that we price it the same as a normal people sticker. Gonna have the boob shelf. I'm not really sure what's going on with this part here, but we're going to build up some layers and make it look a little bit more like the reference image. I realise that looks quite dark. There's a lot of light blue in the sections that aren't green here. There's quite a lot of light blue that's just been daubed or dabbed on the top. So we're going to do that to help kind of even it out a little bit. That's a good idea. Joally's buying her husband a bib. Oh, goodness me. Oh, hi, Jacqueline. I didn't see you come in either. You want a Boob Brigade sticker too? Okay. Black Rose is a Swedish bra brand. Pray tell, I've tried pretty much every bra brand there is going. I would love to hear about any kind of bra that has comfortable straps. Susan's just walked in on the boob conversation as well. Well, hi Susan, nice to see you. Yeah, we're just saying I had a cupcake earlier and I ended up with a crumb here, and I'm like, it's standard procedure when you're part of the Big Boob Brigade. So we're going to make a Big Boob Brigade sticker. Elise's stepmom was a double G. Yeah, not touching where I am. And here is Julia Kate. Hi Julia, I was just telling everybody about me hurting my neck sleeping on your sofa. Thanks for popping in to say hey. That's the other thing, guys. It doesn't matter where you are in Sweden or who you're talking to. The standard way to greet someone is hey. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking to someone really important or not. It's just hey. And I think that's hilarious. Also, Julia, we're just talking about Swedish bras as well. You've come in at a perfect time. Other hands for the big boob shelf brigade. Oh. Oh. Oh, well, that's all the other hands. There seems to be a lot of big busted people kicking about in here today. That's funny. Super fun. Why not? Okay, I'm going to grab this light blue or what's left of it. I think I maybe have to mix some more. Hello, Christine McDonald. Thanks for joining us. Julia does like a good bra. Green hat, 3-year-old is currently slapping my chunky calves and going boom, boom, boom. She's a charm. Oh my god. Oh, kiddos. Gotta love the kiddos. Okay, that looks a little bit better. I'm going to go very, very sparingly with this though. It needs to be lighter again. Just so you don't miss it, Miss Mary of Sweden do great bras for bigger boobies even without the metal thing in the cup. The underwire, it's called the underwire in English. Yeah, okay, I'll check that out. That might be interesting. Hello, J.I. Colorist. Thanks for coming and joining us from CA. Is that Canada or California? It could be either. I need a little bit more white in here. Make it white. I think I need to mix some green in here too. Oh. Yeah, is there? I'm very curious, Black Rose, because obviously my German is very rusty, no pun intended. I take it underwire doesn't translate from German directly into English. That you asked that, or not that you asked that, that you said that. And if it doesn't, I would love to know the German word for bra underwire. Oh, the child that's slapping the calves is the bonus child. Okay. Does that make it better or worse, Green Hat? The joys of blended families. What can we say? Okay, my light green has completely dried out. It's done, it's gone. So what I normally do here is just for palette space, you know, if you don't want to use a massive palette or whatever, I just get a clean bit of my rag with some water on it and I just take it away, you know, like I just give it a scrub like this and just let it dry out and then you're good to go again. But when I mix the next lot, I'm probably going to use this green here because my sap green's still wet, and it's just a good way of not ending up with like 65,000 palettes. I've just realised as well, like, see my dirty water, it's pretty dirty, it's a really pretty colour, but it's pretty dirty. I have managed to spray this up the wall, so where this camera is, like behind the camera, but now that wall's white, it is now an attractive shade of turquoise in several places. Might need to put a splashback or something up here. Bugle? Is that how you pronounce it? Bugle? Because the umlaut, bugle, not bugle, bugle. Bugle. Julia, that colouring page makes my head hurt. Why? Why? It's no, there's nothing to make your head hurt. It's just splodges of paint. It's just a Monet. Right, let's put a little bit of sap green down here. Grab a little bit of this white because it's kind of like past its sell by date as well. Everything's kind of goopy, so I'm gonna clean this brush. I've just splattered the wall again. Oh my god, Jim. Can't take me anywhere. Oh. Boogle. I'm trying, Black Rose, I'm trying. I'm really confused though because Julia was trying to teach me Swedish things and I don't know any words in Swedish. Well, actually, that's not true. I do. But it, I want to pronounce Swedish words the way I would pronounce German words, and that doesn't work like that. It's very confusing. But I'm gonna learn some Swedish. I'm gonna learn some Swedish. Apart from hey. Okay, right, that's a bit on the light side, but that's okay. I'm telling you, these little sea white brushes, they take an absolute pounding and they just don't complain at all. I love them. That brings me back quite nicely. If we just go back to the topic for a little minute, I'm just going to stick a quick poll up because I'd like to know like a sort of general opinion about this. And that is with all the stuff that we've talked about. So we've talked about like full set syndrome, and we've talked about how product reviews influence whether or not you want to buy something. I want to know if you feel pressure. So do you feel pressured into buying things because of YouTube specifically? Pressure to buy because YouTube. I'm not saying, not asking specifically if you do go and buy, but does it give you a feeling of obligation to buy said products? Would love to know the answers to this. Because I do get this feeling of obligation with things, and I have to sit and decide in my mind whether it's the strength of the social media or whether it's my mind playing tricks on me. Might be a combination of the two. She's non-verbal, so boom, boom, boom is about as good as we get. Well, that's pretty good if she's non-verbal though, especially if she's touching you and boom, boom, booming at the same time. Is that not a good thing, Green Hat? Not that I'm trying to like assess your bonus child or anything. God, that came out so wrong. Please don't take that though. I didn't mean that in the wrong sense. Yeah, Yana E is impressed with how I'm doing this page. This is one of those ones, Yana, you just have to be really patient. You're never going to finish this unless you literally have nothing else to do in your life. You're not likely to finish one of these pages even in a couple of days. It's better to take your time, go section by section, because you need to build up the layers. And working with gouache, obviously that's quite easy, but you've still got to wait for stuff to dry, and obviously layers take time. But I actually find this quite therapeutic, and it's not going to be a carbon copy of the original when I'm finished, but I would like to think it'll be fairly close. You know, if someone came along and viewed it at a distance, they'd be like, oh, that's Monet's Pond. And that's good enough for me. I've got quite a good base here now, I feel, with this central part. So even if I just add in a little bit of yellow now, I think we'll be, you know, we're going to be fairly close at that. So I'm going to take my magical yellow that Martine helped with. That's absolutely rock solid. How? Let's see if I can magically bring this back to life. I seem to remember that the Artful Gouache seems to reinstate fairly well. Yeah, there we go, look. This is quite thick though. This paint is really thick. The little brush isn't coping well with it. I do normally have a separate mixing brush, but because we're working in such small quantities, I didn't use one this time. But I'm going to grab a bigger... I'm going to grab one of the other sea white brushes. Maybe not the size 12, I think that might be overkill. But something a little bit larger. Oh, my shoulder, my neck's really sore now. That's because I'm stretching that way. Oh. Okay, I've got the number 6 here, that'll do. So I've got clean water too. We'll put that little bit of that in there. And grab that. Let's squish this up a bit. Just get it mobile again. I'm not really trying to dilute it, I'm just trying to get it to move about. And it's so I can mix it in. The other thing that I really like doing with stuff like this is not entirely mixing the paint properly, and it gives you almost like a marbled effect. So when you've got a lot going on in one area, it can actually make a really good job of it. I've missed a lot of chat here. I'm trying to back up a bit here. This takes concentration. Right, it's quite interesting because a lot of you, or most of you, have said no, you don't feel an obligation, which is interesting. But there seems to be like a sort of exception to that though, and it's coming up in the comments, so that's quite interesting as well. Just an observation, not casting any aspersions about that, obviously. I've just backed up a bit. Julia K, Swedish is so close to German and English. It's not though. Some of the words I think I recognise in Swedish because it's the same in German. It's not. Julia thinks it is. I don't think it is at all. And the pronunciation is definitely not. Like, the German pronunciation doesn't work for Swedish words. Oh my god, Yana E said as well, early on I got a Thomas Kincaid book, decided a resounding nope. Guys, there's some of you have got an ad coming up in approximately 40 seconds, just so you know. It's actually come up on my screen this time. Yeah, the Thomas Kincaid book, after I did one like to try and replicate the painting, which wasn't dissimilar to this kind of thing, I actually never wanted to see one of those images ever again. I fully understand that, like I get that. I was so done with that, just because it was so time consuming. So yeah, I kind of feel that, honestly. I've loaded up this brush far too much. So I got really animated there about the German-Swedish thing. Pam, your new room is so bright and cheery. It is, and do you know the best thing is, Pam, it's absolutely chucking it down outside. It's really grey outside. And the room still feels really bright, and that's because basically from the corner where you can see the that bookcase that's got everything on it. Can you guys see the pencil? Oh, you can. I was just wondering if you could see that change in colour. Basically, that wall is white all the way round to where I'm sitting, and this wall here past the window back to the packing station, so it is just bouncing the light about. It can be quite clinical, obviously, but I think we've counterbalanced it quite well with the cave colours on this side, but also I've got artwork and things to go up round about as well. I'm really, really pleased. I talked a little bit about this at the start, which yeah, obviously you would have missed, but I'm really happy with the layout. Like, we've learned a lot from the last two caves, so thank you for the compliment, because I've worked hard to try and make this a better cave in that sense. So I'm glad that it's been appreciated. Nye doesn't buy, but the pressure is there. So you feel that sense of pressure now, is that fair to say? Leslie's budget dictates if you give in. Yeah, as well as trying to be practical. Yeah, good luck with that. That's never going to happen. Okay, I want to keep adding to this and really build up, you know, that sort of sense of layers. So I'm just taking wee mini breaks in between here. I do need to add in some yellow to match, like just in at the bottom here, and maybe sort of flick them up a little bit. Christine doesn't feel pressured, but it's the wanty. It's wanty. A green hat, so it's talking about our bonus child. She's not got issues with touch or anything like that. It's literally just the language development. Right, okay, green hat, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying that for me. Marilise doesn't feel pressure, but just the FOMO. Okay. Right, now here's an interesting point from Thea, and what Thea says here, like, this is actually my worst nightmare as a YouTuber. She says sometimes it feels like you can only do things if you buy certain stuff, which isn't true, and honest YouTubers will always tell you that. I never, ever, ever want to be in a position where people perceive or assume that I am trying to push a product for a specific reason. I like to think that I'm the antithesis of that. Now, I know I'm not perfect in that sense, because I will always push polychromos pencils. It's not because I sell them in the shop. It's because I've used them for years and they're reliable and they're good quality. They last a long time. So yes, they're expensive to replace, but you don't have to replace them that often. And they're also the type of pencil that caters to a lot of preferences, so that they're a good all-rounder basically. And I would hate to think that people think that I'm doing YouTube videos just to peddle, like, for my own personal gain. That's not what it's about at all. So that is literally my worst nightmare, and I don't agree or approve of YouTubers who try and push things because that's what they're doing in the video. Like that gem no likey. I have missed a lot. How did I miss so much of this chat? Okay, we've clarified FOMO for Patty as well. FOMO is fear of missing out. Um, At least says, remember to give Jem a thumbs up. Yeah, thanks guys, that would be really nice. We do have 32 concurrent viewers and 26 likes, so maybe if you haven't stuck a like on the video, you could do that just now, on the live stream, sorry. Oh, Marigold, remember the dwarves video? Yeah, that's what it was in the Thomas Kincaid book. It was a scene from, well, it was a painting, a Thomas Kincaid painting of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and they're kind of like in a mine, but you can see outside in the background, and oh my god, the foliage. That honestly, that was like, it was kind of a wee bit soul destroying. I was fairly happy with the outcome though. I seemed to manage to get it where I wanted it to. Like, it went in the direction I'd hoped, but it was a really hard slog getting there. Right, let's add in the yellow now and see if we can make this a bit more accurate to the reference image. This looks a little bit light here as well. This is the joy of gouache. You know, you can go over the top. I'm going to put some darker, probably the neat blue in, this one here. And the trick to doing this being Monie is lots of dabbing, like splodge, splodge, splodge motions, because that's pretty much his entire painting style. I'm kind of ready to just wipe my palette and start again. Everything's really dry now. If you try and keep plugging away with stuff like this, you end up knackering your bristles on your brushes just because it's starting to dry out. And you do get keep wet palettes and things, they're pretty good. But when you're just using it for, you know, like an afternoon like this, it's not really the thing. Thea has an easier time when knowing where to put colours instead of having to figure it out yourself. All the Thomas Kincaid books are quite something nevertheless. I think part of the problem with the Thomas Kincaid books is it's really nice to have that reference image, but you have to realise that they were painted in oils, so it's going to be very difficult to replicate what's going on. Not only that, the line work, and it's the same with this book here, the line work isn't perfectly replicated. They've done their best, but some of the stuff doesn't match up, and you have to be able to work around that as well. So if you're wanting to copy absolute inch by inch, number one, you can't do it in the same medium. Although I dare say you would get a similar effect if you did it with acrylic or gouache, but it is very difficult to replicate. So that's the first point. Not to mention they're insanely detailed. So there's that. You know, there's so many factors that go into them. So anyone, like hats off to anyone who tries, honestly. I think I can shut this poll down now. The answer is no, which I'm very surprised about. Very, very surprised about. Okay, let's scroll down a bit, catch up a little bit here. Black Cruz would try a Thomas Kincaid book, but wouldn't want to copy his painting. Well, that's the nice thing. If you're capable of avoiding that compulsion, I dare say it'd be very, very enjoyable. Bye, Yana. I think I've probably missed her. Elisa's saying about having white walls, it's easier to get correct colours. Yeah, That's something that I think I struggled with in the last cave with the light sort of sage green walls. And there was a lot of bounce light and it was kind of skewing my colour choices. So everything, and that's why I deliberately wanted these two walls because I'm almost in the corner, like the corner is just behind this angle here. So that I've got this wall here, which is adjacent, and obviously the one in front here. I'm just behind the camera. They're quite close to me, so the light that is bouncing off. So I've got a neutral bulb in the studio light up here. So overall, I should have true light in order to get true colours. It might not work perfectly, but I'll give it a pretty good bash anyway. Oh, Green Hat says that can't say Gem hasn't enabled me for some purchases though. No pressure, but yeah. Oh God, I hate that. Like I hate it. I don't like it. Hello, Karen. Didn't see you sneak in either. I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. I've missed quite a bit, so I'm just getting caught up. Pablo's work well in some colouring books, but not others. Don't use them outside of colouring books, though. Well, interestingly, Marigold, this morning before I started this stream, I'm actually filming tomorrow's colouring video because I'm trying to get caught up after being away. And I actually mentioned that in my video, so it's really interesting that you've said that. I'm really surprised at your poll, like at the votes of the poll, and a lot of you don't feel pressure because of YouTube. That's really interesting, and I thought that would be the other way around. Honestly, I'm pleasantly surprised by that, though. I like that. Marigold, yeah, Colour with Clear does have a conversion chart. Colour with Clear's done a lot of like comparison charts between the different brands of pencil. She's really put the work in with that. Don't hate it. I'm a grown adult. I can decide on my purchasing choices. I live vicariously through you as you open things, then decide if I do or don't want them. It's a really healthy attitude to have, Green Hat. I know that I might be on my own here, but as someone who is mentally compromised, well, people would say I'm mentally compromised all the time. But when I'm struggling mentally, I find that there's certain things online that affect me more than they would if I wasn't mentally delicate. Does that make sense? Um, it's kind of like the shoe on the other foot for me though, and sometimes it's YouTube comments with me. I mean, overall, I've got a very thick skin. I'm not easily offended, but if I'm feeling mentally a bit delicate, someone can make an offhand remark, and it kind of like stabs me in the feels a wee bit, and I've got to kind of like have a word with myself and be like, now come on now, Jem. So it does happen. I just wondered if it was maybe the same with the purchase and things. Right, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning off here because we're well, we're kind of spent in a lot of senses here. And then I want to work on this section of the actual bridge, and I'll go back and maybe darken up a few corners in here. Marigold makes a good point as well. It's down to like the choice of the channels that you watch, and she specifically doesn't watch ones that push products. So that's a very valid point as well, and I think that might apply to a lot of you that are in here. Obviously, all of you fall into a certain demographic in terms of your like the style of videos that you watch. And I don't think a lot of you sit and watch the clickbaity videos, you know what I mean? You know exactly what I mean. Laurie, thanks for stopping in. Thank you for modding. Not that you had a lot of work to do today, but I always appreciate you coming and helping out. Enjoy the rest of your day and give the wieners a cuddle for me, okay? Cuddle the sausage, wiggle butts. Most people are kind, even if it comes across with foot and mouth syndrome. Well, I mean, I consider myself very lucky. The truly nasty comments, you know, that are just that are just malice, are so few and far between, but they have happened. My rule is that if a comment prickles me, or you know, like it makes me kind of sit up and take notice, I basically sit on it for 24 hours. And if it still really, really bothers me after 24 hours, then I might do something about it. Now, what that something is, I don't know. It depends on the comment. But that's generally my rule of thumb, is not to knee jerk with things. It's not really a big deal for me though, but I have noticed that when I'm feeling mentally delicate, those feelings like surface more often, for sure. Little other hands for Laurie. Do you know what? I'll even stick up some other hands for Laurie. Let's do it. Yeah. Other hands for Laurie. Huh? Oh, I've got a doggy. Oh, Peeper. What's going on? What? What are you saying? Come on. You're all over the place. What do you want? What? Oh, Pip wants to play. Pip, fetch it here. Fetch it to me. I would like to present to you Exhibit A. This is what's affectionately known in our house as a snaky. And this is a worse for wear snaky. This snaky has no tail. And oh no, we've still got a squeak in the head, but we are absolutely filthy. These toys are great because you can put them in the dishwasher, but they've got a split up the middle, and it's so you can hide treats in them. We have 3 of these in this house. Don't ask, just don't ask. But this is one of Pip's favourite toys, like Tuggy toys, and she has brought this in because she thinks it's playtime, and she's sitting here down here like such a good girl. And it's really difficult to explain to her that it's not playtime because Mum has to work. You gonna go and fetch it? When we're finished the stream, I will go and play with her because she's been a good girl today. The nice thing about Pip is she quite often, if you throw a toy for her a couple of times, she then goes off and plays with it herself. She's quite good at entertaining herself. Hi, Karen. We've got lots of Kong toys. We don't have a safe stick, but we've got lots of other Kong toys. Also, before we bought the Schneekies, we didn't know they had squeaky heads. Had we known that, we'd never have bought them, because we really don't do squeaky toys in this house. Apparently we do now. That's her. She's lying on the floor with it, and she's like chewing it and playing with it herself. Oh, that's entertaining. Right, okay. I'm trying to kind of assess here. I just want to zoom this in a little bit so that I can show you. I'm kind of trying to assess what I want here. I think I want to put some white down first, and then maybe a little bit of green on top, and then pull, yeah, it's like I might even put some grey in there as well. I've got some pre-mixed grey gouaches also, because my version is very, very bright so far in comparison. I need to put some yellow over the top of this part here. I made a boo-boo with that. Right, okay, let's get some dirty white down. Let's make a dirty white. I'll get some white again. I would quite like to try the... Yeah, see, I've got a neutral grey 3 here. I think if I mix that with some of the white, that might go well. Elise is asking me if I would ever get a cat. I used to have a cat. The answer is no. It's not that I don't like cats. I do like cats. I'm just more of a dog person. We used to have a cat called Mina, and Mr. Jem called her Meanie Neenie. She was quite a sour-faced little thing. She was a rescue though, and she came round after many, many years. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, here's the this is the Talons white. I got this to replace my old Winsor & Newton titanium white, which was absolutely done. So plonk some of this. This is a really nice clean white. And normally you have titanium white and zinc white, and titanium white's like your pure white. This looks more like a titanium white to me, but don't quote me on that because I ain't no expert, but haven't used it a little. But if I mix these two together, I'm hoping I can get some sort of background base white that's not quite white. But this neutral grey 3, even if you only do a wee bit of gouache painting, I would highly recommend this. This is a really versatile colour, and it's really good for muting down some of your brighter colours. Obviously, the colour I use it with is Sap Green all the time. I just find that a really handy little tool to have in my arsenal. So let's just... yeah, let's start there. Again, it doesn't have to be like super accurate because we can paint over this and, you know, we can deal with it, layer it up, have a bit shown through, hide it completely if it looks terrible. You name it, we can do it. It's kind of mixing with the green a little bit, and I'm not mad about it because we're going to make that green anyway. Black Rose, I hope you enjoy going out for dinner tonight. I would love to go out for dinner, but that is not to be. I'm going to be working till very late this evening. I'm glad you've come in though. It was lovely to see you. It's nice that you managed to catch a live stream. So we'll catch you later, okay? So take it easy, and thanks for coming and showing your support today. Oh. Green Hat's got a rescue black cat. She's a bumhole. Mine was also black as well. I identify. Thea also has a black cat. He's not a bumhole though. He's cute. Oh, nah. Pet all the dogs. It's really hard. I'm really sorry that 3 months is not a long time to have lost your friend. Um, it gets easier, I promise you. I know like your heart's hurting just now, but it does get easier, and you get to a point where you'll have, like, when you think about them, it doesn't hurt anymore and it's nice feelings. You still miss them, but it's kind of a different feeling. So I know that's not much like comfort right this second, but I promise it does get better. Leslie wants to know where she can buy a snaky. We get snaky from all reputable pet stores. If I find a link, I don't think if you type snaky into Google it'll come up. But I'll try and find one for you and post the link. Oh, goodness me. One would like to purchase a snaky. Looking forward to the next stream. Yeah, you go get ready. You go and gussy up and enjoy your dinner. Elise's cat is a tortie, tons of attitude, but oh, she loves to snuggle. See, Meanie Nini didn't want to snuggle. She just wanted to be in the same room as you, and it's so she could eyeball you from a distance. Yeah, more than a long time for people and pets. Yeah, yeah. Well, it took me a long time with Mist, especially. But that was kind of different because she was my working dog as well as my pet. She was very special. And when we got Pip, I wasn't ready for her, and that had been a year and it was well over a year. So yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. Like everybody mourns differently. And some it takes longer than others. It definitely gets easier, even if you're still not completely over it. You think differently about it. I had my first smile moment about my grandmother not that long ago. I was telling this story to Julia and our parents actually, and it's the first time it's happened because it's not been that long since I lost my grandmother. I've been a year and a bit, and I was very, very close to her. And I got sent, again, as a YouTuber, you get sent stuff. And someone had sent me these scented stickers, and they were supposed to be like mint scented. And I was like, "Oh, that's great!" And I popped them away in a box with a lid on it, and I never thought anything of it. And a couple of weeks later, I went to get something out of the box, and I opened up the box, and the smell of mint hit me in the face. And they smell exactly like polo mints. So for any of you in the UK, you know what a polo mint is. And my gran's handbag always smelled of polo mints because she always had polo mints in her bag. And it made me smile so much because it made me think of my gran's handbag. So I put the lid back on the box and I hid it away. And the last time Mama Jem was here, because my gran was my mum's mum, I took the box over to her and I was like, "Mum, tell me what this reminds you of." And I lifted the lid in the box and she went, "Gran's handbag." And I was like, "Yes." But it was so nice because it was just something that's associated with her and it didn't make me sad. It was really nice to have that sort of invoke, like something that was so alive about her. And I really liked that. And that was such a nice feeling. Much as I miss her, I mean, I still miss her now. There's days when I go to lift the phone to call her and I'm like, "Oh, you can't do that anymore because she's not here." And that still makes me sad. But that one little thing, it made me, and it's making me smile now. Like, it's such a nice feeling. It was like a comfort thing. So yeah, like it definitely does get easier. It definitely does get easier. It never goes away, but it gets easier. Have a nice evening. Everyone's wishing Black Rose a nice evening. Is anybody else jealous that she's going out for dinner? I am. That is actually, Martine has said something that is very profound, and I agree with that. You can't replace them, but you can let others in to fill that empty space in your life. Love brings more love. Yeah. Thanks for stopping in, Green Hat. Thank you for your assistance and also for being a member as well. I'm happy with the Zentangle picture, Patty. It's fine. Ah, Thea's grandma had a peppermint plant in front of the house, so always reminded, yeah, it's really good. I really like it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's. I don't know if there ever is enough time to get over something like that. I don't think you ever get over it. It just changes, doesn't it? Like, because I think back to like the day after we had missed put to sleep. And although I still feel pain and loss, it's not the way that it was. It's different now. It's evolved. I mean, I was absolutely inconsolable, and that was the 27th of December, so it was, in the festive period where we're Scottish, we're supposed to be drunk and jolly, and I was the furthest thing from it. And it has gotten easier over the years. But poor Pippi, like I basically rejected her. I remember when we picked her up, and I we'd gone quite a long way to get her, but we didn't actually have any intentions of picking her up that particular evening. And we got back, and the poor wee mite, she was absolutely done because she was terrified. But we like messed about with a tennis ball, and she was chasing it around the kitchen. And as puppies do, especially as tiny puppies do, they conk out. So I was sat in our living room at the time, and I just started to cry, and I couldn't stop. And she was lying across my lap, and she was tiny. She was like this big, and she was fast asleep, and I could not stop crying. And Mr. Jem came running through, and he's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "Take this dog away. I don't want it. I don't want her." And it was just because I wasn't ready. Like I was not ready for this tiny little puppy, and it made me miss missed. Where's my oats there? It made me miss missed so much more, and it made it hard and it hurt, and I was angry at the puppy for this. And it took me a good 12 months. Like I didn't bond with Pip at all, and I found it really hard. And I actually found someone else in the same boat, and it was the receptionist in my local vets, and she had a quite a similar situation, and she just wasn't bonding with her new dog at all. So it was nice to have someone to talk to about that kind of understood it. And we got through it, and like Pippi and I are best buds now. Like I wouldn't want to be without her. She's great. She's a smashing dog, and I love her to pieces. So yeah, but it's taken a long time. Pip's 5 now, so and I think that's a combination of not being ready, you know, because of the loss situation and kind of like having this new dog forced upon me. It's definitely a combination of that and the fact that she's such a different personality. So yeah, but we got there. I said I wouldn't be without her, and I love her to bits. She's a great dog. And her and I understand each other. Like, Pip understands what I'm saying to her all the time. See, yeah, Karen, you know, that it is, it's actually a really normal feeling, and, you know, I don't think it's talked about enough. Definitely, definitely. Right, how are we looking here? Skipping deep conversations. Jeez, Jem. I'm really good at like putting a Debbie Downer on everything. Oh, I tell you what I do need to do. I think I need to be changing out this water. I don't even know what's going on in there anymore. Suspect. I do have some clean water here. I'll put that in there. I think I want to grab some green. I want to finish off the bottom part of the bridge here. There's no white in it whatsoever. So let's grab this green colour and plonk that in the middle. Oh, that's too light. We need the darker green, don't we? Good grief, we need the darker green. Get some more sap green out. Oh, okay, guys, this is your 1 minute warning for an ad break. God, these ad breaks are really frequent. Is it just me? Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah, the streams are, we talk about anything, it's just wherever the conversation takes us. I don't want it to get really heavy though. Well, the thing is, Jan, a lot of people, particularly people that don't have animals, they don't understand that losing an animal for a lot of people is like losing a family member. I'm not going to compare it to losing a parent or a child or a sibling, but they are definitely, for me, and bearing in mind one of mine was a working dog, definitely part of the family. But say, Mist for me, she was my wee soulmate. She was my companion. She was my work colleague as well. We had a very, very special bond, but and she went away very quickly, and it was very unexpected. And I think that was what made it worse for me personally. Well, see, for me now, the other thing as well is Jock's getting a bit older. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon, but he's slowed down a lot. But I found it easier to deal with Woo passing away than I did with Mist. And the reasoning in my head was that Woo was nearly 17 when we had her put to sleep. Like, she lived a long and fruitful life, and she slowed down quite gently. You know, it was a very gradual process. So I think that gives you time to like process it as well. Mist, it was very sudden and she was very young, and I just felt it was very unjust. And I had to make the call as to whether to put her to sleep or whether to keep trying things while she was still suffering. And that was the really hard part for me. So I think as well now, like Jock's nearly 12, and for a working dog, that's well, it's not terribly old, but it is old. So you know, I'm thinking to myself, he's had pretty good innings. For a working dog, he's been absolutely ruined. So it's just, I think it's a bit easier to process. So there, you know, there's that aspect of it as well. When something's very sudden and unexpected, you don't have that time to process, and I think that affects how you mourn as well. But it just depends on the person because everybody mourns differently. I think this blue's about Ghost as well. I just wanted to try and mix a wee bit in here. For you know that this kind of green here. Again, just like a base coat. I'll mix it in with that. I'll blend it in a bit better. It's a bit kind of ridiculous, but I've made a really pretty, like accidentally made a really pretty colour here. I don't even know what that is, but I like it. Right, let's see if we can. Again, I don't want to add too much water because if you do that, it ends up really see-through. Okay, and then the bottom we're back to more this sort of bluish shade. So I'll maybe try and mix some of this white with this blue, and we can take it from there. I think that maybe do us. Where are we just now? 10 past 4. Well, we're not bad for time. I'll say, unfortunately, I've got the rest of a video to film and edit tonight, and about 600 other things that should have been done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh. I love that Patty's got a horsey connection though. Because I've talked to there is a stable here where I live now. I'm the very nice lady that runs the stable, and there's people that rent out stables and keep their horses here, and it's a very specific bond with a horse. And I see people riding their horses, and it's really nice to see actually. And some of them are characters. There's a tiny little pony. And when I say tiny, he is absolutely tiny. And we have like a bridle route round the farm that they can walk, and it goes past the house. And when when their owner takes the pony out, it's a gentleman that leads this pony. Obviously, nobody's riding it, but it's literally up to his bum cheek. Like that's how small it is, and it's the cutest thing ever. And he's like, "Come on, let's go!" And it's just like trotting along beside him like a big dog, basically. And it absolutely cracks me up. If I'm in the kitchen, I can see out the front window, and it cracks me up because this little pony is just trotting along, and the other person that's with him's riding like a full-size horse. This little pony's trotting along quite the thing. He's absolutely adorable. But when he's in the paddock, he was quite unsure at first when you're walking past. He's just kind of looking over. Because I always talk to them on the way past because that's what I do, and like I wave to them and stuff. But he started coming over now. He doesn't want stroked, but he comes over just to kind of like say hi. And it's amazing. I love it. Like I'm right into it. I'm like, here's this little dinky pony come to see me. It's great. He is super cute. Where am I making all these shades of blue from? Like, where did that come from? I need to get some grey into that. Oh, hi, Daria. When did you sneak in? The chihuahua you got, not the guy. Also love the way the Swedes pronounce chihuahua. They say chihuahua. Chihuahua. Sounds very exotic. Julia's sister has a chihuahua, who I also met when I was over. I met all the dogs when I was in Sweden. Right, here's some grey in with this. Do you see what I mean about muting this down? Like it's just this grey is great for this. Again, I'll just use this as a sort of base colour along here. And we can blob stuff on top of it if that's what we want. I'm going to have to stop fairly soon because my shoulder's getting really sore sitting here. I'm at that stage where I want to start holding on to my, like the top of my arm. That's when I know it's time to call it quits. I've got this tiny little square done in the however many hours we've been here, 2.5 hours. Okay, yeah, I think, I think that's a good place to stop actually. Let me just pop this out the way a little bit, and we'll zoom out. So you can see, that there obviously there's a lot to be done here. There is a lot to be done, but that's fairly good fun. Fairly good fun. It's pronounced Chihuahua in Portuguese. That's nice now. I always feel as like Scottish people, like we make things sound so unexotic. We're like Chihuahua. It's a beautiful little square. It's a little square, but it's a beautiful square. Yeah, I'm actually quite pleased with it. It's been such a long time since I've done this sort of art, so I was a wee bit rusty, not gonna lie, and I didn't actually use my beautiful gouache brushes, but they're not really cut out for that section there. I think if we'd been working further down in the image where there was bigger open spaces, I probably would have. So I'm gonna just put these back in the llama mug where they belong. There we go. Job's a good one. It's fiddly, yeah, okay, maybe. Yeah, wheat bag. Do you know, I had one marigold and it got lost in the last move, not the move just there, like the move before that. I keep meaning to get myself another one. I really should do. Yeah, we're a good bunch in here, aren't we? We're a good bunch in this chat. Okay, quite interesting chats regarding the art supply situation. Um, it seems mistakes have been made though. We've all kind of been there. Do you think then, would you all agree, or would any of you agree that you're much more susceptible to trends and wanting to buy things as a new artist or new to any hobby? You don't have to limit it to art. And that as you go along and find your preferences, that sort of want and trend following lessons. Do you think that is a fair statement to make, or do you think otherwise? I'm just thinking to myself it might be time to replace my sea white number 6. It's looking a bit funky over here. Starting to splay a little bit and spread out. It's done well, this brush, though, I tell you. Done very well. Get pop that there. I might even just pour myself another drink while we're here. Huh. Corgis are not mini border collies. Oh my god, they're nothing like border collies. Corgis are like, they've got attitude. They've got mega attitude. They're like proper sassafrasses. I love corgis though. I think they're amazing, and they've got the cutest butts ever. They've got like proper wiggle butts. Yeah, so you guys think that like when you first sort of start out, it's like yes, we want to look, we want to try all the things. Jamali, love the sound of the Scottish. My friend says I've started picking up phrases. Oh, you don't want to be doing that. I think it happens though, Karen. Karen's saying that when she started colouring not so long ago, wanted all the things. Now slowing down, spending too much money. The nice thing is, Karen, you can quite often clawing it back makes it sounds like you've made a mistake. That's not what I mean. But you can quite often pass on supplies or swap with people when it comes to colouring stuff. And I think that's a really nice thing about the adult colouring community. That you know that you've got that option, even if it's just swapping a book with someone else. Um, for me, like I just kind of got to a saturation point. Obviously, colouring and art just it was a hobby that got completely out of hand and it grew legs, and we've got the stash shop and all the rest of it now. It's happened very organically for me though, and I'm not really of the hoarding persuasion, so I've not intentionally gone, oh, I have to have all this stuff. Um, but it's easy. It is so easy for it to happen, especially with the simplicity of ordering things from places like Amazon that's got one click ordering and next day delivery, and you're like, oh come on, like it is really really easy, and in some instances you realize you've spent a lot more money than maybe you thought. Karen, oh no, I'm a greedy person. Well, and now see, I'm saying she's bad for watching flip throughs and then purchasing the book. I think that's a fairly balanced thing to do, though. Uh, Going and buying the book without watching a flip through, that's a situation where there might be a problem. But, I think that's normal, personally. I wouldn't buy a colouring book without watching a flip through. I tend not to buy colouring books, though, because people keep throwing them at me. Although I have to admit, like Marigold, I don't know if she's still here or not. Marigold was the person that gifted me the Rita Berman book, and I love it. And the last person that gifted me a book before that was Helena from the Colouring Zone, um, and she gifted me Circle of Life. If you haven't seen that book, it's amazing, and Helena does a lot of colouring in that book. Uh, Thea, would you mind putting up a link to Helena's channel? It's the Colouring Zone, and it's the UK spelling of colouring. The U's in there like UK. Go and check out her channel, guys. She does a lot of colouring in Circle of Life. Oh my goodness, I think that's hilarious that Leslie's asking who got the Queen's corgis. Oh, good grief. It's not something I would know the answer to, honestly, but I'm glad everyone else is coming up and giving you the goods in the chat. I don't know what the answer is to those things. Ah. Marigold is here. Hi, Marigold. Yep, okay, so Thea's put up the link to Helena's channel as well. She does a lot of colouring in a very different style to mine, and her stuff's good, so go and check that out if you get the chance. Oh my goodness, Karen's saying that made her buy the Colin Thompson. I love that book. Like, I love that book. It's so good. I want to colour in it all the time, but it's one of those ones where I just don't have time to colour in it all the time because it's so time consuming. But it's so satisfying when you finish a page in that. It's excellent. It's been good chats today, guys, hasn't it? So we've come to the conclusion then, just to tie up the stuff on the topic of discussion today, that we as the collective, we as a group of cavers are not easily influenced by what we see on YouTube, but it definitely points us in a direction should we feel a fancy for it. So it might be safe to say then that collectively as cavers, we value the social media input in terms of trends because it gives us information to make an educated guess on whether or not to buy art supplies. That's my theory and I'm sticking to it. Patty's first corgi was related to one of the Queen's corgis. That's awesome. Very interesting because the supply and pricing of art materials in Brazil is very different from the US and Europe in general. I can, you know, that obviously, well, I think for most people, all of us have a budget of some description. Some people's budgets are bigger than others. But I think that has a huge influence on how we do things. But availability, and obviously that's something that's come about even more since COVID, availability in the UK. Oh, we're stuffed for everything, but you know, I'm just like, okay, we've just got to get on with it now. Thanks, Brexit. But it really does. Leslie, excellent synopsis. Yes, why, thank you, my dear. Ah. It's like a test drive of art supplies. Well, that's kind of like that, and it's so that you can make an educated decision. And I would like to think that my reviews are consistent enough that you would trust my judgment. And for those of you that have been around a lot longer, you will also know my preferences. So even if it's not the same as your preferences, you can still gauge it relative to your own preferences. Oh my God, that was long-winded. Basically, even if I don't like stuff, you know that I don't like it, but it still means you can make a decision. That's what I was trying to say. That's purely what I like to do because I very much and have strongly felt from the start that art should be accessible to everyone. And a lot of the artist grade supplies are out of reach for people, or they just couldn't possibly justify it for a hobby, which is completely understandable. Um, but I'll always stand by a product if it works well for me and is consistent. I will always stand by a product, but I'll never say, oh, you have to have this, and if you don't, you're not going to be able to do any art, because that's a load of baloney. And I've proven that time and time again. I use the cheapest ass paintbrushes and I sell the cheapest ass paintbrushes, and these are a great all-rounder. I wouldn't stock stuff like that if it wasn't worth it, but this is exactly what I'm saying. A number 4 sea white, I sell these in my store for £1, one Great British pound. So you don't get a lot for a Great British pound anymore. And you can paint loads of stuff with that, including Monet. So you know, that's I have conviction for what I use, but I would never push anything on. And I get emails, like I had the Temu email a couple of weeks ago, but it'll come and be an affiliate, be an associate, do this. This happens a lot with the mid price and the budget art supplies company, and I'm like, you might have some good products, you might have some terrible products, but I'm not going to back you 100% if you've got terrible products, because that means I'd have to be like, hey guys, buy these terrible products, and I can't do that. Like, that's not happening. No. Susan likes to Susan likes to watch lots of people use the same art supplies to get a wide perspective. That is super sensible. Susan is super sensible. These paintbrushes cover your arse. More or less, yeah. That's really interesting now. Thea asked now in the chat earlier on about the differences between the economy and buying art supplies in Brazil compared to everywhere else. And there is huge disparities. And she's just said for someone from the working class, it would be unthinkable to have as much as Gem, for example. I think now that's a bit of an unfair comparison because a lot of the stuff that I have is gifted or has been given to me as as promoted materials. If I was not on YouTube and I was just bobbing about doing this, I would probably still have a lot of the artist grade supplies. Um, I'm a degree educated person. I have a full time, well, not quite full time. I have a proper job that pays quite well. I'm in the very lucky position that my husband is in gainful employment as well. He's also degree educated. Believe it or not, farmers can get a degree. It's a questionable degree, but they can get a degree. And because we don't have any children, we have quite a high level of disposable income, which allows us to do the things that we like to do and maybe spend a little bit more money that we probably couldn't justify if we did have, say, two kids. So there's that side of it as well. But what Nye's saying is that is a huge disparity for her being in Brazil. And I think that's even more important, and it's a moral responsibility for people like me to be as accurate and honest and put the work in where we can, so that if Nye does decide to make a purchase, she's got people she can watch on YouTube for free to help her make a sensible decision. And I take that moral responsibility quite seriously. I wouldn't be able to sleep at night knowing I'm pushing shill products like that. That wouldn't sit well with me at all. Like I wouldn't be able, don't sleep anyway. I'd be able to sleep even less after that. Oh, did you see Lily's video, Patty? I was like, why is she mentioning me? Like, what have I done? But I went back and watched her video. I've actually answered her query underneath it as well. That video is amazing. Again, I don't know if maybe Thea or there's Laurie or no, I think Laurie and Green Hat. Wait, Thea, it's down to you. The video from Lily, I can't remember her channel name. It's like something art journey. Right, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna see if I can find it. And I'll pop the link up. She did a really, really in-depth video about fake Prismacolors, but she's backed it up with research from like everyone else's video, which included the one from Sarah Renee Clark that I mentioned, but she also mentioned my video as well. It's just a very brief mention, but it was a very valid point that she made. Let me just see if I can find the link here, and I'll post it in the chat for y'all. It's absolutely worth a watch. Oh, there we go. Found it. Can I not just have the... I just want the link. I can't multitask this much, guys. It's far too much. Copy that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Right, let's see if I can do this here. Oh, Thea's already got it. Damn it. I'll post it anyway, just in case. Thanks for bringing that up. It is a really, really good video. This one. Yeah, it's the same one, Thea. Art Journey. Yeah. She's great. She's got such a good personality as well. Like, I really like her. That's right, it used to be UK. That's where I was getting confused. Thanks, Alicia, right. Yeah, if you get the chance to go and check out some of Lily's video, Lily is one of these YouTubers that she's got a wicked personality and it comes through in her videos, but it's not forced or put on, it's just her being her. And I love people like that because obviously I'm like that. Like what you see with me, this is me as a person. Well worth it. Well worth it, guys. Go and check her channel out. Marigold says, I'm disabled. I work part-time from home for a friend's company. Get PIP for my disability, but I don't spend my money on other things, so I gave money available for art supply. Yeah, so you have money available for art supplies. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're your joy. Oh, they're my joy too. And I think as well that the thing that's done it for me is it's like the test of time. I am now 6 years into my art journey, and I still get super excited about art supplies. Like I really do. I get excited about colour. I get excited about artists' compositions, and that if I wasn't like really into it, that's not something I could kind of put on for the sake of a video. And like much as I try, and you guys point this out to me all the time quite subtly, but you're like, yeah, you can tell Jem really wasn't impressed with that box, and I do my best to like hide it and be like objective, but the disappointment just comes out and I can't help it. But that works both ways, obviously. And that's one thing the owner of Artful and Oh Dear Jamie, he always says that. He's like, if you want 100% enthusiasm 100% of the time, go and see Jem because she's got it in bucket loads. And it's because it's the way I am. One of the things that comes up a lot as well that people really don't like about me is the fact that I wave my arms about a lot and it's quite distracting in videos. I am 100% aware of it, and about 85% of the time I try and temper it as much as I can. But when I get really excited, I can't help it. It's like asking me not to breathe. And I have lost viewers because of it. But do you know what? I'm okay with that. It's just part of my genetic makeup. I'm Italian. I do this a lot. And if people can't watch because of that, do you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm not going to change who I am, partially because I can't. But you know what I mean. It's just this is what you get, guys. Very similar situation, says Thea. Spend the money having art stuff too. Yeah, you'll do. Pam's finally getting sleepy. Yay! Night night, Pam. I hope you get a really good sleep. I am thinking about doing an upside down stream. I'll probably talk about it on the community tab, and we'll maybe do an early morning UK stream for those of you in Oz and New Zealand and surrounding time zones, and see if we can get you all limbered up a bit. I hope you sleep well, Pam. Thanks for coming and joining, and I really appreciate you coming in. Dominique, you wave your arms. I don't notice it. Really? Oh, come on. I hope that was sarcasm. Ah, that's funny. Elise is saying she works two jobs. If you pay your bills, it is no one's business what you spend your extra money on. Well, yeah, that's true. I just think it's important to point out the like everyone's got a very different situations. And one of the things I don't want people thinking is that I'm this like massive extravagant spender, and it's because I'm in this position now. I've got 10,000 YouTube subscribers. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but people pay attention to the things that I'm saying. And I think it's very important to paint an accurate picture of the entire situation. You know, I just don't wake up in the morning and go, yeah, do you know what? I'm going to buy a £300 set of light fast pencils. I save up for my pencils like anyone else. But I'm lucky that I do have a good job, and obviously now technically I work two jobs too. The cave pays for itself, almost. Uh, well, it doesn't pay for itself, and Jem keeps buying chairs and furniture and stuff, but you get the gist of it. But I think it's important to be quite transparent and stuff like that. Nobody needs to know the ins and outs of my finances, obviously, but there are like I consider Mr. Jem and I very lucky in the position that we're in because we haven't always been this comfortable. We did go through we're eating nothing but beans on toast, and we didn't have we only had one vehicle that was kind of falling in bits and wasn't reliable, and I was worrying whether I was going to get to work or not, and that's when I worked in a shop. So things change, but I think the circumstance and the way that I acquire supplies, it's important to be transparent about that. And it's one of the reasons why YouTube have put in their contains paid promotion tag that you've got to put in now. And it's to let people know, number one, that there is a possibility of some bias because you've got it for free, but also that people aren't just going out and spending money willy-nilly to make YouTube videos. Sometimes you get free stuff. That's the way that works. But it's an interesting point. So talking about Bailey J as well, I actually watch more of her videos now that she's not doing just art videos. Like I like her vlogs now when she does like her shop stuff, and I think it's because obviously I find it relevant to like to me because I'm building up my little shop at the back there. The packing station's looking good, you know. I really like her videos. And Nikki likes people that talk with their hands. Well, you're in the right place. That's funny. Oh, there's April as well. Hi, April. That's true, Jan. I do reuse things a lot. And again, I try to. I kind of make the effort to do that now, just because I don't like to be wasteful. But that's one thing though. Elise is saying she hopes she gets big enough to get free supplies. I've noticed that it's really slowed down now. The economy in general is not what it used to be, and I get less free stuff now. It does take time though, I will say. The companies that I do deal with semi regularly, it's taken me time to build up a good business relationship with them. Obviously I've made some friends along the way, like Julia. So that there is an element of that. People don't just like send you an email anymore and go like, here, check out this stuff. We're just going to send you this review on your channel. That those days are long gone. So yeah, it takes a little while, but you'll get there. Oh, I'm getting another ad warning for those of you who have ads. You've got about 40 seconds. You'll be getting another ad. Do you know what? Let's just skip it. There you go. I've just delayed the ad for you. We don't need an ad right now, do we, guys? Nah. You've got 10 minutes before there's a possibility you might see another one. It's nice to have this level of control in the live stream, but just recently, from the start of October, so 4 days ago, YouTube have changed their policy on mid-roll and before and after video ads, and us as creators actually have less control now, which I'm a bit pissy about, if I'm honest. I'll talk about that in a proper video. I might even mention that in tomorrow's video. That means a lot. Now saying that, like I appreciate that because I do try really hard with that. And I'm never going to be perfect. I'm a human being, but I try my hardest to be as conscious of stuff like that as possible. Um, you know, free supplies won't pay bills. No, they don't, unfortunately. At Martin, I don't. I think it's actually more to do with the economy. Martin has said, "Do you think the less free stuff is down to people no longer having hobbies as much during lockdown? It was a big thing. I was around for 2 and a bit years before lockdown came in, Martin, and it was still very active. Like the free stuff was still very active then. I think it's more an economy thing." Jan, oh, now you mention it, the hands are moving around. See, now that I've said that to you, you will notice it more. I do a lot of hand waving. At least only at 64 subscribers after 2 years. Well, to be fair, it depends how you market yourself as well. The time that you're coming in at, YouTube is kind of saturated, honestly. If I had been 3 years earlier than I was at this stage, I would probably be at like 50,000 subscribers by now. In saying that, I have done nothing to market or push my channel. I don't advertise on social media. I don't push for subscribers or followers. If people like what they see, they'll find me and they'll subscribe. And that's the way I feel about it. And, it's taken a long time, but I make quite a tidy little pocket number. The channel runs itself and I've got everything I would need for the channel. I can change out equipment when I need to. Okay, we have to do a wee bit of saving up sometimes or a wee bit of, pulling back on the finances like now. But generally the channel looks after itself and it gives me a wee bit of extra pocket money to pay towards a phone bill or a new pair of pants, whatever. And that takes time, but I'm actually quite happy with that. Well, hi Michelle, nice to see you. I'm a lot better, thank you. And my little holiday was really good. I had such a good time. One of the things I did do while I was away was Julia. She held my hand and I made some paint. I actually made some watercolor paint, and I had the best fun doing it. Jazza seems to have become a victim of his own success. Patty, can you expand on that, please? I would love to hear your thoughts on this because that video I watched of Jazza, I actually watched when I was in Sweden with Julia. I'd love to hear your take on that. Oh, Patty hasn't watched it yet either. Oh my. Yeah, and I would just like to say thank you for that, Patty. I did give my membership preamble at the start. The fact that you are in a position, number one, and willing to give me a couple of pounds every month. If you were to do that with every YouTube channel you watched, you would probably be spending a lot of money. So the fact that you deem me worthy of enough to do that, I really appreciate it. And it's people like you that allow me to get new stuff in the shop. Sit here and do live streams instead of working my proper job. Like it is really important and it counts. Every penny counts. So I want you to know that you're very much appreciated and I will continue to do my best to bring you the content that you want so that you're getting your money's worth. What's Marigold not a fan of? Marigold, what are you not a fan of? Of Jazza? Most YouTubers seem to not understand or care that a full setup can cost the equivalent of a month's worth of minimum wage in some places. Yeah. Oh, easy. Well, there we go. Let's put that into context, okay? I don't even know what the cost of a full set of polychromos is. That's how out of touch I am because I sell them open stock. What do you pay for a tin of 120 polychromos in the UK, guys? Does anybody know? Martin, Jazza is very much a sell thing these days. Usually his own products, granted, but it feels a bit too pushy. I see. The content is around the selling, not the technique or fun of art. That's an interesting point as well. I got to a point because I used to watch Jazza's stuff all the time, and I kind of felt that he wasn't growing with his subscribers. When you have a YouTube channel, you either have to cater to your demographic that you start with, and obviously if you have your channel for years, their art journey grows as much as yours does. So you either have to go along and evolve and become an older channel, or you have to cater to a specific group. And in Jazz's case, when he started out, his stuff was very young and fun. So I think he's kind of got like stuck in this no man's land, and I think that's part of not his problem. I don't think he's got a problem, but he hasn't evolved, but he hasn't kept the same dynamic and the same content. He's just on his own art journey, which is absolutely fine, but he can't expect to be consistent in terms of his income if he's just going to go off on a whim, because that's an arrogance of someone that's got a big channel to expect that everyone will just follow him wherever he goes. Someone said that his channel's really shouty now, and as someone who has been watching from the start, you get kind of tired of it. I've stopped watching his videos for the most part, so I can't comment on that. Patty thinks that Jazza grew his business too quickly. Well, I don't know. Right, let's go back to the polychromos. Thea's saying that 120 polychromos are 195 euros here in Austria. I think they might be more expensive in the UK. In fact, no, they definitely are more expensive in the UK. But that would be like a week's worth of wages for, the average person here. Someone on minimum wage, yeah, probably. So that's a huge disparity from what Nye's saying about, the way things are in Brazil. Oh, you guys, this is the only channel you've joined. Thanks. Oh, there we go. Michelle is saying, oh, where did that go? Paid £180 for a full set of polys and still not used them. That was 2 years ago. Oh, Michelle, you need to use the polys. They're good. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, I think you probably pay about £200 for a set of polys now. Marigold, the thing is, you're not bitching. This is a constructive conversation about the state of YouTube. Now he has an actual business with staff, and I think he's a bit off a bit too much. Okay. Martin thinks him bringing another artist was a great idea. Well, see, I think that's a great idea too. I think it needs to be done in a certain way though for it to work. £296 right now on Jackson's, yeah, but we wouldn't buy them from Jackson's because Jackson's are really expensive per piece. That's a lot of money. Wow. Mary-Lee says, I like Jazza the person, but the character on screen is a bit much these days. Yeah, right, this is kind of what I got from it. Like, he's almost made like a caricature out of himself. So there's Jazza the presenter, which is this big sort of really over the top, says she, that's waving her arms about like pot and kettle here. But the thing is, this is the way I am all the time, and I don't shout. This is just me being enthusiastic. But the real life Jazz, see when he does these boohoo videos, you actually see the real person, and it's a very attractive person in terms of his personality. And quite a few people have said that there seems to be two different Jazzes, and that's part of the problem, maybe. Patty enjoys his travel vlogs. Martin watches his brother's channel. That's amazing. Yeah, Shad's cool, isn't he? Yeah, well, this is throwing up some really interesting topics of conversation here. God, we've gone from like dead dogs to jazz. We're doing well tonight. And I was finishing this stream like 20 minutes ago. But these conversations are good. They're good to have. Unfortunately, though, and I don't think it's not specific to anyone, but YouTube is just not what it used to be in terms of running a business. And that's why I feel people like Elise will struggle more to get to a point where even just your hobby pays for itself, because I find it a slower struggle than people who started like a couple of years before me. There was this sort of prime time slot that Jazza, Casey Golden, she was kind of late to the party. Who I'm trying to think who else. Draw with Waffles was another one. And dark haired girl, really pretty girl. Oh, I can't remember her name either. The one that did the Louis Vuitton pencils. What's her name? That's terrible. Anyway, they were all of the same sort of ilk, and they just hit it at a really good time, and they rocketed from like a couple of thousand subscribers up to like 100,000 subscribers really quickly. And they've done really well, but they're trying to find their place now. So you know, it just keeps evolving and changing. Patty's watched his brother too. Ray Dizzle, that's her. Thank you, Martin. Why did that escape my brain? Yeah, Mira Byler as well. Yeah, they all came out at the sort of same time, and they did very well out of YouTube for years and years. I was you know, a lot later to the party because I didn't start my channel till 2018, and these guys at that point, some of them had been on the go for 3 or 4 years already. So Elise says the problem with me is I have a master's degree in illustration and would love to make my dream come through or true of supporting myself as an artist. I wish I was graduating now, not when I did. Do you feel that that makes a big difference, Elise? Or like, do you think you could use that illustration stuff now, or do you feel as if that if you were a fresh graduate, you'd have a better chance? It's quite an interesting conversation as well. Marigold Amazon UK has the 120 tin for 140. That's fairly cheap. That is fairly cheap. I actually have access now. Obviously I'm looking at building up what's in the stash shop, and I have access to wholesale of the Faber-Castell Polychromos tins. I haven't actually looked at the wholesale costs, but it would be interesting to see what I would be able to retail them at, because again, this is another conversation, and I actually had it with the wholesale company. They have minimal like they have the recommended retail price, and then they have minimum prices that they will allow you to sell at, and it's so that you don't sell them dirt cheap. And what I was explaining to the sales rep was that I am able to sell things a lot cheaper than some of my larger competitors like Jackson's, because I've got no overheads compared to them. I don't have a warehouse to run. I don't have a social media team. You know, I don't have staff. It's just me. So I can go a lot cheaper and still make a good profit. But they have a bottom line, and it's to stop people just sort of chancing their arm to make a quick buck on, you know, like a bulk purchase, and you actually have to sign a waiver for the more expensive products like the 120 tins, and they make you do that, or else they won't sell them to you. So that was an eye-opening experience. I'm like, I'm learning all the big girl things about being an art supply distributor. It's very interesting. Hi, Wendy. You've just come in, have you? Working and lurking. Well, glad to have you lurking, that's for sure. We're getting very interesting conversations about making money on YouTube. We've moved on from the art supply situation. Okay, Lisa's saying when she graduated in the early 90s, there was not the ways to self-market. But that's the thing, you've got the opportunity now. And I definitely think, as someone who was a mature student and then came back to art as a hobby and now a business into my 30s, I would say that the opportunities are definitely there. I think you've got to work smarter now though to take advantage of them. Definitely. Martin was watching Nerd Forge. Yep. Spray painted it anime style and gave it to her brother. You know, people who have a master's in English but no C2 level. I don't know what C2 level is. I'm probably one of those people. I have a degree. I never did any hires at school, which is the qualification that you do at 17 or 18, because I left school at 16. Yeah. And I says that's interesting, Jim. Well, it was eye-opening for me. Nah, I didn't know all the ins and outs. I'm learning this stuff as I go along now. But I had to have that conversation just to make sure that they weren't going to give me into trouble for selling them cheaper than other people. But the sort of general overarching comment was just don't rip the piss and it'll be fine. I was like, right, okay, cool. Got it, got it. Mission understood. Yeah, right. There's all these comments like Marigold's saying now about 20 years as a journalist having failed your English lit. When you've got a scientific degree, it's a wee bit different because there are certain processes and things that you learn, and there's certain base knowledge that is heavily underpinned by a degree. And if you don't have the degree, it doesn't mean that you can't do it or you're stupid, but people will question if you have that knowledge base. And I think that's the difference between a creative degree and a scientific degree. So for the likes of myself, and believe it or not, Mr. Jem's agricultural degree comes under a scientific degree because you have to know about drugs, you have to know about how grassland management works, which is basically just biology, it's how stuff grows out the ground. So particularly here in the UK, if you don't have a degree, it wouldn't be a stumbling block for you if you were going for a job if you had tons of experience instead, but you would have to be able to back that up with really solid references. Whereas in Scotland, for example, if somebody sees you've got a degree from SAC, which is the Scottish Agricultural College, I got my degree through them via Glasgow University. People know, like, they can just mentally check it up and be like, yep, right, she knows her stuff because she's passed that. And it just gives you a much easier route to stuff. Obviously, when it comes to art, I have no qualifications at all. But hey, guess what? I'm sitting here and I'm doing okay. Got a little business with some pocket money. So you're absolutely right. I agree entirely. But there's certain disciplines, particularly in Scotland, where it's advantageous to have a degree. And someone that didn't finish school all the way till the end. I mean, I finished. I left at 16. I got very good exam results at 16, but they don't matter because I went on and did a degree. So there's two sides to that, definitely. I would love to hear what it's like in other countries though. Like, is it really different, especially with the scientific side of things? Marigold. In fact, I've made my whole career with language and I've no degree. You do have a diploma in journalism, yeah. Patty graduated in 77. I feel old. Patty, I love you very much, and I can safely, comfortably tell you that you graduated before I was born. Long before I was born. That's funny. C2 level is the top level of speaking English in the Cambridge certificate thing. Okay, right, because I was wondering why I would, but obviously that's not a thing for us because we're English speakers. That was really ignorant of me. So you're saying as an English, like a standard of speaking English. I'm with you. Doesn't matter what degree you have, you still have to do a diploma. Yeah, yeah. So in Austria, then, is it one of those things where everyone's expected to get a degree, but they're not really worth the paper they're written on? Patty Lolo, I'm sorry, Patty. It's so funny though, because just recently, like, I have started to feel, not feel old. Well, like, when I was sick, I definitely felt old. But I've just started to, I don't know. I think I'm just more aware of what age I actually am now, and I'm definitely not getting any younger. Part of that's like a nice thing though. There's some comfort in being older and wiser, but other times I'm like, oh god damn it, I'm ancient. I still think I'm fairly young, you know. In the US, if you do not have an advanced degree, you're in trouble. Yeah. Marilise is saying she works in a totally different field to what you studied in your degree. Well, that's very common, isn't it? In some places, the degree matters, and others, not what it's in. Yeah. Well, I mean, the likes of me doing YouTube, I've done this just being adventurous because I'm not scared, and that's what I like to do, which is fine. So yeah, there's definitely merit in that too. Oh, Daria graduated in 73. Yes, if you don't have a degree, you're dirt. Well, the interesting thing is, Thea, like, see, in my family, bearing in mind that one half of my family were immigrants, I am the only person, bar one, that has a university degree. My uncle on my mum's side, my mum's oldest brother, he has a degree, which is also a scientific degree. And we are the only two on both sides of the families that have degrees. So my entire family would be dirt if they lived in Austria. However, I don't like this sort of perception that if you don't have a degree, you're stupid. Like, I hate that. Take Papa Jem, for example. My dad is one of the cleverest people I know, and he, unfortunately, he was at school in the 70s, and dyslexia wasn't recognised as a thing, and he was labelled as stupid. And he wasn't stupid, he just couldn't put his letters in the right order. But if you look at the stuff that my dad researches and his knowledge base is about just now, it's incredible. And I feel like he was, my dad was done dirty when he was young because of it. And there's no way he would have got through a degree because he wouldn't have had the support he needed to get himself through it. So I do feel a certain way about degrees in a sense. Patty, I've worked longer than you've been alive. Let's but well, you have, yeah, you have. Only just, but yeah. I see Jan's making a really interesting point. For those of you that aren't overly familiar, well, not overly familiar, that sounds terrible. For those of you who don't know Jan very well, Jan works in IT, and she is saying IT degrees are usually not important as tech changes so fast, it's irrelevant, so that what you have learned for your degree becomes obsolete really quickly. They tend to want Microsoft certificates. Microsoft certificates, well, there's a thing. This is so interesting. Like, I'm really enjoying reading the chat here. So Marigold left school in 1988, but didn't do her diploma until 1991. Yeah. Well, that was the same. What year did I leave school? I can't even tell you what year I left school. But there was a huge gap for me between leaving school and getting my degree. Because I basically went out into the world and tried all the jobs because I didn't really know what I wanted to do myself, honestly. And then I had a nervous breakdown, so that kind of put the kibosh on that. And it was only after that that I decided, yeah, do you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I should have done it all along. And I went and did the doing, and it was also how I met Mr. Jem. So I reckon that was all kind of meant to happen. But yeah, I did everything backwards, and I don't regret it for a second. And my degree has been very useful to me indeed. Yeah, having a degree says nothing about you as a person, and someone that judges you as a person based on your academic qualifications, you don't need to be speaking to that person. Like, mm-mm. Wendy's got 2 certificates in the IT realm, but they're required for your job. That's quite common, though, isn't it? Like in IT, you have to have certain things to perform in a certain area of IT. A master's in health sciences now that sounds interesting. I would love to have a chat to you about your health sciences. I see, Susan. Right, okay. Now Susan is Scottish, so she's from the same place as me, and this breaks my heart that she's saying her daughter was told to choose subjects that she'd get good grades in rather than subjects she wanted to study, as grades are more important than topic to get into uni and college. Like, that's how broken our education system is. Like, it's absolutely awful. The other thing I hate about the Scottish education system is that our education system asks students, I use that term loosely, kids at 13 and 14 to start picking subjects to shape their career. Now, I don't know about anybody else, it might just be me. I was 21 and I didn't know my ass from my elbow, let alone shaping my career at 13 years old. Because you have to pick subjects for your standard grade. They're not even called standard grades anymore, they're called something else. Nat 5 and 6 as they're called now. Um, it's so wrong to ask kids to do that because you don't know what you want. You're still finding out what you like. I strongly object to it. I think the education system in Scotland is rubbish. Rubbish. And it's no wonder people like me who don't know what they want to do. Like, I didn't figure it out till I was like nearly 25. I had a good time along the way, do you know what I mean? And even now, what I do has evolved. I've got a very nice balance now between scientific and art, and I think I'm very lucky because I feel very content with that. But not everyone knows what they want to do from when they're a tiny baby. It's like when you hear people say, "Oh, I've been dreaming about my wedding since I was 5." I was not that person. Didn't even dream about a wedding at all. So for those of us that aren't that fortunate to ask us to start picking subjects at 14, it's like, oh no, don't do that. Awful. I'm really sorry to hear that, Susan. Like, that upsets me. Kim's never had a problem not having a degree, 44. Job is giving you a promotion, sending me to college. That's amazing. And that's the way the world should work. Like, on the job training is the way forward. Marigold's a firm believer in fate. Yes, okay. Yeah. Yeah, intelligence and common sense, not relevant to a degree. Discipline, self motivation, critical thinking skills, analytical skills, very, very important in a lot of jobs, especially in the scientific fields. Doesn't mean you're intelligent. Know loads of people that have got cracking degrees and don't know how to tie their shoelaces properly. Cold hard facts. Funny, funny. Marigold, oh my god, Jem, so much. Yes, lucky in that you knew what I wanted to do from 12. Yeah, yep, it's just, yeah, 13 and 14 picking GCSE subjects. Come on, like, what, your son is a child at that age. It's not fair. It is absolutely not fair. Marilise was also pushed into her degree by school and parents, and that's why you're not working in that field because you hated it. Oh, yes. Oh, funny. And what Dominique thought she wanted at 18 is not what I want to do now. Well, I've got a similar story to that. I left school at 16. I was being bullied. I had mental health issues and I just wanted to get out. Academically, I was wonderful at school. I was very good. I came first in English out of my entire school. So yeah, the academic aptitude was there, but I hated the school system. I hated the people that were around me, and I hated the education system as a whole, and I just couldn't wait to get away from it. And I did, and I went and qualified as a chef. I am a qualified chef. I have worked in industry. I've worked in 2 AA Rosette hotels, but luckily for me, when I was about 18, yeah, I would have been just 18. I just had an epiphany one day and I was standing chopping vegetables of all things. I was a pastry chef, but I'd gone upstairs to help in the other kitchen. And it just came over me and I was like, do I really want to be standing in a kitchen on a Saturday night, having done every Saturday night when I'm 40 years old? And the answer in my head was, I can't see myself doing that at 40. And I made that decision then that I needed to get out now. So although I was qualified, I was very young. I had like the foresight to really look into the future and say, is this what I want to do? And I like cooking. I still like cooking. I especially like making puddings for people because I don't have a sweet tooth. I like to do it for others. Would I want to do it as an occupation? Hells to the no. And that's the way I feel about all these poor kids having to pick stuff. Like it's not right. Patty, I'm 64 and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Some of us never do, Patty. Ah, that's amazing. Thinker, Dreamer, Sketcher, Spy, hello. It's lovely to see you in our live stream. We're just talking about degrees or the lack thereof and kids having to pick subjects for a career, if you want to jump into the conversation. Interesting subject, yep. Planning on doing your thesis on how YouTube art halls steer shopping behaviours. Oh, you need to go back and watch from the beginning, yeah. Yeah, some of us just don't, Thea, that's the thing. Like, we really don't. We have, who? Susan Devonport. When did you sneak in? I didn't see you come in. Hi. Chose subjects because you thought you wanted to be a nurse but changed your mind at 16. You wish you'd chosen art and sewing. Such a common story. Thea failed English 3 times because the teacher hated you. Yeah, well, see, that was the problem. Some of my teachers I just thought were assholes, truthfully. Yeah. I was probably one of the most, like, outside of work. I mean, like, see, between 16 and 18, qualifying as a chef taught me a lot of things. It taught me to be responsible, like, and I mean properly responsible from a very young age. You grow up very quickly working in a commercial kitchen. It's what's given me my thick skin. It taught me to be super organised. It taught me to work under pressure to deadlines. And it taught me how to go hard or go home. And I'll always be thankful for that. But the Scots have a bit of a reputation for that anyway. Like, we work hard, party hard. It's always been like that. And it was never a mistake. And I don't regret it for a second because it set me up really well for being an adult. And most of the kids now at 16 wouldn't have coped with what I was doing. It's I was out the house, I was done. I was working 12-hour shifts 5 days a week. Sometimes I didn't get a day off. I was getting minimal pay because I was an apprentice. And I had to manage my budget, and I smoked at that point as well. Like, some days were, some days we stole things from the kitchen to eat. But there's no regret behind it at all. But when you compare that to someone who hasn't got a direction and parents and teachers are forcing them into taking subjects at school, it shows you how ridiculous the whole setup is. I need to not get ranty about it because I do get angry about it. But some of my teachers at school were a waste of space. Like, you knew they were just there for a paycheck. They didn't give a flying monkeys about these 14-year-old kids shaping their career. They were like, teach a class on whatever the syllabus tells you to do, go home. And that's what I objected to in school, and that's one of the reasons I left. Because I could spot them a mile away. Hi Rana, nice of you to come in and talk to us as well. Everyone's like, I'm talking about ending the stream and people are just coming in. I think I might have to stay put for a wee while. Jamali, as a teacher, worst thing to see as a teacher, students who aren't into the subject they're studying. Passion is the way to success. Jamali, I'm really curious if you have students who have to take a class because it's mandatory and you know that they have no interest in it, how would you handle that as a teacher? Like, how do you ride that out, knowing that that's the situation and both of you clearly know that that's the case? Because I think I would find that really difficult. Now firmly believes that it doesn't matter how many times you change jobs or careers, you're always learning and applying that in a different ways the next thing you decide to do. Yeah, transferable skills, absolutely. That's worked wonders for me. The other thing that I was always taught as well by Mama and Papa Jem, who have a very strong work ethic, is it doesn't matter what you do for a living, it's irrelevant. As long as you can put a roof over your head and you can feed yourself, then that's all you need. But you always take pride in what you do, and it doesn't matter whether you clean toilets, work behind a bar, whether you're a lawyer, whether you work in a skyscraper for stocks and shares, or whether you're a farmer covered in cow poo. It makes no difference, because what you do as a job doesn't define your status as a decent human being. What does define your status as a decent human being is how much pride you take in what you do, because you're only as good as your last task. And I have carried that in here, and I've always taken great pride in my work. And well, with an exception of one or two minor jobs here and there, I've always stuck by that, and I think it's a really good thing to live by. You know, it's about moral integrity. It's of no relevance what you actually do. It's like, as long as you do it well. Bye, Nikki. Thanks for popping in. We've had very good conversations tonight, haven't we? Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. So have a great day for what's left of it for you. Jamali's going to try and motivate her students that aren't interested. It doesn't always work. It makes you question yourself as a teacher a lot. I can understand that. I can see why that would, make you kind of look at yourself a little bit. 9 times out of 10, entirely not your fault. But if that was my occupation, I would think I would really struggle with that. Like, I would find that really difficult. That's a really good attitude as well, Marigold. And the fact that, as parents, you've kind of teamed up with it. Because my parents kind of said that to me too. It's like, it doesn't really matter what you do. The one thing that they did say was you have to be in work. Like, even if it's not what you want to do with the rest of your life, you have to be gainfully employed, because you're not lying about. You have to go to work. But they never forced me to do anything in particular. It was like, they knew what I was like, obviously, from a very young age. Like, she's a free spirit, she'll find her own way when she's ready. And I did. It just took a really long time. Martin McFarlane says, I got an image of Liam Neeson. What I do have is a very particular set of transferable skills. Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh, goodness me. Elise has worked 2 and 3 jobs since you're 12 years old. Do you enjoy doing that, Elise? Like, do you like having the variety? Because for me personally, I like having the ability to switch between my proper job, which is very scientific number spreadsheets, very regimented but easy to follow because the rules are there and the rules work. That's very comforting. But I love to switch over and come and do stuff like this and dab away and, like a Monet, and really let the creative side out. And I'm much happier, although I'm, borderline like brink of busy a lot of the time. I'm actually much happier and more fulfilled with work now than I was, say, like 6 or 7 years ago when I was just working one job. Yeah, he needs a job. Yeah, I do think Marigold, even from the point of view of learning some life skills and like some adulting skills, I do think it's quite important for kids, even if they don't need to work for the money, now or later. You know, it's quite a fundamental part of growing up and, you know, turning into a young man. It's just having a basic set of life skills that you're only going to learn by being out in the workplace. Definitely. Yeah, that's a good point. Jamali's saying that at university one would expect that the students know why they're there, but there's still parts of a uni course that aren't going to be as exciting as others. Like the first 2 years of my degree, I had to do plant stuff. I have no interest in plants. Yawn, boring. I did like drawing them though. But see, when we were in like the plant physiology classes, I struggled to concentrate. Like mind was miles away. I was thinking about what fields I was going into in my tractor at my job once I'd finished at work. Once I'd finished at uni, struggled so badly with that. And yet classes like pharmacology, we were talking about drug routes and dispersion and like I could have stayed there all day. So it does still happen in university, maybe not to the same degree as maybe kids in high school though, like hating an entire subject. I at least still wishes more of her work was more creative. That yeah, I know I understand that too. It's something that can like sometimes you have to do it really gradually. It's been super gradual for me. It's hard to do YouTube when you go up at 4 in the morning, work till late at night, and work a Saturday. Yeah, I think that like already my brain's ticking away, thinking like, how do we fit all this in? Because that's what I like to do. That would that would definitely be a one video a week job, like maximum. Artsy Endo, unfortunately, I think that the education system is broken in most countries. That very well may be the case. I know it's definitely broken in the UK. Yeah, it is now. One of the things that being a farmer teaches you that is that everything needs to be in balance. You can't push things too far one way or the other because if you upset the natural balance of things, there are consequences. And it's just exactly the same in life. And for me, having this balance between the scientific side, which I need for security and the logical aspect because that's the way I'm wired up, versus this opportunity to metaphorically run around with my pants on my head, which is what art is to me. That makes me a much more balanced person and just a much happier person, definitely. Uni dislikes food chemistry and forestry evaluation. Forestry evaluation, oh my god, that sounds inherently dull. Ah, that is so funny. Susan's daughter thrived in the education system and could focus on what she was told to. That's good. That's actually really nice to hear as well. Wow, these are like super interesting chats tonight. Super interesting. Right, guys, I really need to go now. It's now quarter past 20, nearly 20 past 5. Unfortunately, I've got stuff. Jock, got stuff to do. Jock's just being Jock. He's still super itchy. We're changing his medication. We're going to the vet tomorrow morning. Um, so he's like chewing away at himself, and I've got to kind of remind him not to do it. He's like having a good chow down there. Marigold Love School just didn't study enough for our A levels. Yeah, this has been a great conversation. It's gone a lot of different ways, which has been nice. I did do a bit of art. Maybe could have done more of that, to be fair. But this is the thing I like about the WIP Wednesdays. I want this to be like a really relaxed stream, and for it not to be regimented. And we have to do this. We have to get this finished. We have to talk about this. Not what it's about. Yeah, and make sure you take it easy on your neck. I shall do my best. I can't promise anything. I want to thank you all very much for coming and joining us this afternoon. Can we have a round of other hands for our mods, particularly Thea, who was able to find the link to a video she's never even seen before. Marvels never cease. And thank you very much all for your entertaining conversation. The last thank you I would like to give again is to our people in the chat here with the little pencil badges next to them, our lovely members. I appreciate you so much, and you are literally participating to keeping us afloat here. So although for some of you especially it's a tiny amount of money, it makes a huge difference to me. So thank you, thank you, thank you, much appreciated. Lots of pink other hands, that's what we want. Guys, I will see you back in the cave tomorrow for our normal scheduled video, which I haven't finished yet, which is what I'm going to do next, is finish filming and editing it. So it's going to be late night for me. So I'll see you for that tomorrow, and obviously we'll have our video on Sunday. Very important announcement in Sunday's video, so even if you can't be there to watch it within a couple hours of it going up, make sure you go back early next week and watch it, because there's a good announcement happening there. So I shall bid you all adieu once again, and I hope you've got a little bit of work done on your own WIPs today as well, and I will see you tomorrow, guys. So take it easy, everyone, and enjoy what is left of your Wednesday.